Have you ever felt like life pulls you in every direction, as if the world is constantly testing how much you can handle? Some days, the weight of expectations, challenges and emotions can feel overwhelming, almost suffocating. It's not just the big things, loss, betrayal, heartbreak, but even the tiny moments that stack up. The sharp words of a colleague, the unexpected traffic jam, the endless to-do list that never seems to shrink. There's a universal truth that life, at its core, is unpredictable. No matter how hard we try to control our surroundings, there's always something that slips through the cracks, something that stirs up stress, frustration, or disappointment. And it's during these moments that we often lose our balance. But here's the thing. What if the chaos didn't have to affect you? What if, instead of being swept away by life's storms, you could remain calm, grounded, and unshaken? What if you could move through the noise of life with clarity and strength? This is a possibility. It's not about avoiding challenges, but transforming the way you respond to them. Let's begin with a story, one that carries a lesson you won't forget. There were once two travelers making their way through a dense forest, each carrying a heavy backpack filled with supplies for their journey. The forest path was unpredictable, sometimes smooth, sometimes rocky. There were stretches of lush greenery that felt peaceful, and then there were moments of harsh, relentless rain that left everything cold and muddy. One traveler, let's call him Sam, couldn't stop complaining. Every step felt heavier than the last. When the path became steep, he cursed the forest. When the rain soaked through his clothes, he grumbled about how unfair it was. Every obstacle seemed like an enemy, something out to get him. The second traveler, Alex, walked the same path, carried the same backpack, and faced the same challenges. But Alex approached it differently. When the rain poured down, Alex didn't fight it. Instead, they adjusted their pace and found shelter under the thick trees. When the path became steep, Alex paused, took a deep breath, and continued one step at a time. Alex didn't resist the journey, but moved with it. By the end of the day, both travelers reached the same clearing. Sam dropped his backpack with a loud thud, exhausted and irritated. "This forest is impossible," he said, slumping to the ground. "I can't believe how unlucky I've been." Alex, on the other hand, placed their backpack down gently and smiled. "That was a tough climb, but what a view we have now," they said, looking at the golden sunset breaking through the trees. It wasn't the path that made the difference. It was how they carried their journey. This story reflects how most of us navigate life. Some of us, like Sam, resist the rain, the mud, and the uphill climb. We see challenges as interruptions to the life we want, and in doing so, we exhaust ourselves. Others, like Alex, learn to move with the challenges, adapting and finding strength in every step. The difference lies in the mind. It's not the external events, the rain, the rocky path, or the steep climb, that determine our peace. It's how we choose to respond to them. In today's world, the backpacks we carry may not be filled with camping gear, but they're just as heavy. Deadlines, family responsibilities, personal insecurities, societal pressures, all of these weigh us down. And when the path gets difficult, it's easy to feel like Sam, overwhelmed and frustrated. But here's the good news. You don't have to live like that. Every day, you face situations that test your inner strength. Someone cuts you off in traffic. A loved one says something hurtful. A plan you've been working on falls apart. These moments can either consume you or leave you stronger. Think about the last time something upset you. Maybe it was a minor inconvenience, Or maybe it was a significant challenge. Did you hold on to that frustration, replaying the moment in your head over and over? Or did you let it go, finding peace despite the discomfort? Most of us struggle to let go. We carry those moments with us, letting them shape our mood, our thoughts, and even our actions. A bad morning spills into the afternoon. A single argument can sour an entire day. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can learn to break free from this cycle. You can develop the mental tools to face life with calm and clarity. You can learn how to navigate even the hardest paths with grace. It starts with a mindset shift. Life doesn't stop being unpredictable or challenging. The rain will still fall, and the path will still have its steep climbs. But what can change is how you approach those moments. The secret lies in letting go, not of responsibility or action, but of the unnecessary emotional weight we attach to every obstacle. It's about learning to detach from the things you cannot control and embracing the things you can. This doesn't mean shutting off your emotions or pretending that everything is fine when it isn't. It's about understanding that emotions are like clouds. They come and go. They don't define the sky itself, just as challenges don't define who you are. There's incredible strength in realizing that you don't have to react to everything. You don't have to carry every disappointment or frustration. By letting go, you make space for something far more powerful: peace. As we go on, we'll explore timeless principles that can transform the way you approach life's challenges. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're practical tools you can use every day to build resilience and stay grounded. You'll learn how to let go of what no longer serves you, how to remain calm in the face of chaos, and how to cultivate a sense of inner strength that no external event can shake. Each principle is a step toward a lighter, freer way of living. So, take a moment. Breathe deeply. Reflect on the journey you've been on so far. Know that no matter where you are or what you're facing, it's never too late to change how you carry your backpack. It's time to walk the path with a lighter heart and a stronger mind. The journey to unshakable peace begins now. When we stop letting external forces dictate our inner state, life begins to feel lighter. The challenges, struggles, and chaos remain, but their power over us diminishes. This isn't about becoming indifferent or shutting out the world. It's about cultivating a state of mind where we can fully engage with life without being enslaved by it. This is the foundation of detachment, a skill that liberates the heart and mind from the constant push and pull of desires and expectations. The world often teaches us that happiness lies in achieving goals, securing approval, or holding on to what we cherish. Yet, this very attachment creates a trap. When desires go unmet or outcomes deviate from our expectations, the emotional turbulence that follows can feel overwhelming, almost suffocating. Detachment offers an antidote to this turmoil, not by denying desires, but by loosening the grip they have on our peace. Detachment isn't apathy. It's not about suppressing feelings or rejecting ambition. Instead, it's about shifting your focus inward, where true control lies, and developing an understanding that you can navigate life's highs and lows without being ruled by them. It's the art of caring deeply, yet not being consumed, striving without being defined by success or failure, and loving freely without the fear of loss dictating your choices. A key element of detachment is learning to let go of emotional turbulence that arises from unfulfilled desires. When you tie your happiness to achieving a particular outcome or gaining someone's approval, you hand over control of your peace to forces beyond your command. Desires aren't the problem. It's our attachment to them that creates suffering. A strong desire, when met with failure or delay, often spirals into frustration, resentment, or despair. But when you practice detachment, you free yourself from this endless cycle. The path to detachment begins with awareness. Pay attention to how your mind reacts when things don't go your way. Notice the discomfort, the resistance, or the frustration that surfaces. This awareness is your first step toward releasing the emotional hold of attachments. Recognize that it's not the unmet desire itself causing your pain, but the meaning your mind assigns to it. For example, not getting a promotion may trigger feelings of inadequacy, but it's your attachment to external validation that amplifies the pain. Detachment also involves developing a sense of self that is not tied to external achievements or possessions. The world may teach us that our worth comes from what we own, accomplish, or how others perceive us. However, basing your identity on these fleeting markers leaves you vulnerable to disappointment. When you detach from these external measures, you begin to see yourself as inherently valuable, regardless of circumstances. This shift in perspective builds an unshakable foundation of inner peace. A powerful practice in cultivating detachment is reframing your relationship with outcomes. Instead of clinging to a specific result, focus on the effort you put in. Detachment doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means finding fulfillment in the process rather than the end point. When you can say, "I gave my best effort and that's enough," you free yourself from the anxiety of success or failure. This approach not only reduces stress, but also enhances your ability to adapt to life's uncertainties. Emotional turbulence often arises from the fear of losing what you hold dear, relationships, possessions, or even your health. Detachment doesn't mean you stop valuing these things. It means acknowledging their impermanence and finding peace within that reality. Everything in life is transient. Holding on to anything with the belief that it will remain forever is like trying to grasp water in your hands. When you understand this truth, you can cherish what you have without being consumed by the fear of losing it. Detachment allows you to engage deeply with others without losing yourself in the process. In relationships, it's easy to become entangled in expectations, whether it's the desire for someone's approval, reciprocation, or behavior, to align with your needs. When you detach, you give others the freedom to be themselves while maintaining your emotional balance. This doesn't mean you tolerate harmful behavior. It means you approach relationships from a place of strength rather than dependence. Another aspect of detachment is letting go of the need to control. The illusion of control often fuels anxiety and frustration, as life rarely conforms to our plans. Detachment teaches you to release this need and embrace the flow of life. It's not about giving up. It's about understanding that some things are beyond your influence and that resisting them only creates more suffering. By focusing on what you can control, your actions, thoughts, and responses, you reclaim your power. Detachment also transforms the way you experience negative emotions. Instead of suppressing anger, sadness, or frustration, you learn to observe them without identifying with them. Emotions are like waves. They rise, peak, and eventually fade. When you detach, you become the observer of these waves rather than being swept away by them. This practice fosters resilience, allowing you to face difficulties without being overwhelmed. Developing detachment doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent effort and self-reflection. Begin by identifying the areas in your life where attachment causes the most distress. Is it your career, relationships, or personal goals? Once you've pinpointed these areas, Explore the underlying fears driving your attachments. Often, the fear of failure, rejection or loss lies at the core. By addressing these fears, you can start to release their hold on you. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating detachment. Through meditation, you train your mind to observe thoughts and emotions without clinging to them. This practice helps you develop a sense of inner stillness, even amid chaos. As you become more mindful, you'll notice how attachments subtly influence your decisions and reactions. This awareness empowers you to choose responses aligned with peace and wisdom. Detachment also involves simplifying your life. The more you accumulate, whether it's possessions, commitments, or expectations, the more you have to lose and the more attachments you create. Simplifying doesn't mean renouncing everything. It means prioritizing what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't serve your growth. By lightening your load, you create space for clarity and calm. Gratitude plays a significant role in detachment. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, your attachment to desires diminishes. Gratitude shifts your perspective, reminding you that contentment isn't found in acquiring more, but in appreciating the present moment. This practice anchors you in the here and now, reducing the pull of external distractions. Another transformative practice is embracing uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and resisting this reality only leads to frustration. Detachment teaches you to find peace in the unknown, trusting that you can navigate whatever comes your way. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also opens you to opportunities and experiences you might otherwise avoid out of fear. As you integrate detachment into your life, you'll notice a profound shift in how you approach challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively, you'll respond thoughtfully. Instead of being ruled by fear or desire, you'll act from a place of clarity and strength. Detachment isn't about disconnecting from life. It's about engaging with it fully, free from the chains of attachment. The beauty of detachment is that it empowers you to live authentically. When you're no longer bound by the need for approval or success, you're free to pursue what truly aligns with your values. This freedom allows you to make choices that reflect your inner truth rather than external pressures. In a world filled with noise and chaos, detachment is a sanctuary. It doesn't shield you from life's storms, but it provides the tools to weather them with grace. It's a reminder that peace isn't found in avoiding challenges, but in transforming how you face them. Detachment is not a destination, but a journey, one that leads to unshakable strength and profound freedom. When you embrace detachment, you step into a life where emotions no longer control you, where desires don't dictate your happiness, and where peace becomes your constant companion. This is the power of letting go, and it's a gift you can give yourself every day. Letting go of attachments creates a sense of freedom, a profound shift in how we navigate life's storms. Yet, even as detachment lightens the burden, another truth awaits our understanding, the reality that everything is transient. This truth may unsettle the heart at first, but it carries the seeds of deep peace. When we stop resisting the natural flow of change, we unlock the ability to live with grace, no matter what life brings. Change is one of life's few certainties. Every moment, things are shifting, evolving, and moving in ways we cannot fully predict or control. The seasons turn, relationships grow and fade, and even the cells in our bodies are constantly renewing. Despite this, there is a deep tendency to cling to what feels stable, to hold on tightly to what we value or rely upon. The more we resist the flow of change, the more suffering we experience. Accepting the nature of impermanence isn't about giving up or becoming indifferent. It's about learning to flow with life rather than against it. The transient nature of life often creates fear. Losing someone we love, watching opportunities slip away, or even facing the inevitability of our mortality can evoke deep discomfort. But resisting these truths doesn't prevent them, it amplifies the pain. When you begin to understand impermanence, you shift from fighting reality to embracing it. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to passivity, but learning to engage with life fully, appreciating every fleeting moment for what it is. Embracing impermanence invites you to treasure the present, knowing it won't last forever. One of the most liberating aspects of understanding impermanence is the way it transforms how you see challenges. When something difficult arises, it's easy to feel trapped, as if the hardship will last forever. However, recognizing that everything changes allows you to approach these moments with patience and perspective. Just as joy is fleeting, so too is pain. The struggles that feel overwhelming today will eventually pass, just as the darkest storms give way to clear skies. This awareness helps you hold on to hope even in the hardest times, knowing that no feeling, no situation is permanent. Accepting impermanence also changes how we view success and failure. Achievements, no matter how significant, are temporary. They bring joy and pride, but their glow inevitably fades. Similarly, failures that once felt devastating lose their sting over time. When you understand the transient nature of these experiences, you stop tying your worth to them. You can celebrate your successes without clinging to them and learn from your failures without being defined by them. This perspective brings balance, allowing you to engage with life's ups and downs without losing your center. The transient nature of relationships is another area where impermanence plays a crucial role. Every connection we have, whether with friends, family, or loved ones, is shaped by time. People grow, change, and sometimes drift apart. Recognizing this truth doesn't diminish the value of relationships. It enhances it. When you accept that no relationship is guaranteed to last forever, you become more present with the people you care about. Instead of taking them for granted, you cherish the moments you share, appreciating them fully because you know they are finite. Impermanence also teaches us to let go of the need for permanence in material possessions. Everything we own, no matter how valuable, is subject to decay and loss. The car that was once shiny and new will rust. The house you worked so hard to buy will age. Clinging to these things as if they can provide lasting happiness only leads to frustration. By understanding their temporary nature, you can enjoy what you have without becoming overly attached. This perspective fosters gratitude and reduces the fear of loss. Another profound lesson of impermanence lies in the way it encourages us to prioritize what truly matters. When you realize that your time, energy, and attention are limited, you begin to make choices that align with your deepest values. You stop wasting energy on trivial pursuits or petty conflicts and focus on what brings meaning to your life. This clarity helps you live more intentionally, creating a life that reflects your true self, rather than one dictated by societal pressures or fleeting desires. Embracing impermanence also softens our grip on the past. Many people carry the weight of old regrets, mistakes, or traumas, reliving them over and over, as if they are permanent fixtures of their identity. However, the truth is that even these moments are subject to change. They exist only in memory, shaped by time and perception. When you understand that the past is not fixed, you give yourself permission to grow, heal, and redefine your story. You stop being trapped by what once was and step into the freedom of what can be. The natural world offers countless reminders of impermanence: the blossoming of a flower, the shifting tides, the rising and setting of the sun. All are constant yet ever-changing. Observing these patterns can be a powerful practice in embracing impermanence. Nature shows us that change is not something to fear, but a fundamental aspect of life's beauty. When we align ourselves with this flow, we move through life with greater ease and harmony. Impermanence also challenges our relationship with control. Much of human anxiety stems from the desire to control outcomes, to create a sense of stability in an inherently unstable world. But the more you try to control, the more you realize how little is truly within your power. Understanding impermanence doesn't mean abandoning effort, but recognizing that your role is to act wisely and let go of the need to dictate results. This approach reduces stress and allows you to focus on what you can influence rather than being consumed by what you cannot. Understanding impermanence deepens our capacity for compassion. When you recognize that everyone you encounter is navigating their own transient struggles, you become more empathetic. The person who cuts you off in traffic, the colleague who speaks harshly, or the friend who seems distant, all are experiencing their own impermanent challenges. This awareness helps you respond with kindness instead of judgment, creating connections that are rooted in understanding rather than conflict. Impermanence also invites us to cultivate resilience. Life's changes can be jarring, but when you embrace their inevitability, you become less shaken by them. Instead of fearing change, you learn to adapt and grow through it. Resilience doesn't mean being unaffected by hardship, but bouncing back stronger and wiser each time. This mindset transforms change from something to dread into a catalyst for growth and transformation. The acceptance of impermanence doesn't diminish joy, it enhances it. When you understand that every moment is fleeting, you become more present. You savor the beauty of a sunrise, the warmth of a smile, or the laughter of a loved one, knowing that these moments are irreplaceable. This presence allows you to experience life more fully, finding joy in the simplest of things. Impermanence reminds us of our shared humanity. No matter who you are or where you come from, you are part of this constant cycle of change. This shared experience connects us, breaking down barriers of division and fostering a sense of unity. When you embrace impermanence, you step into a deeper understanding of what it means to be alive, a journey marked by change, growth, and the infinite beauty of the present moment. Understanding impermanence brings clarity, reminding us of life's transient nature and teaching us to embrace change with grace. Yet, as the world around us shifts unpredictably, we are left with an equally profound challenge: remaining steady amid the turbulence. Chaos doesn't announce itself politely. It bursts through uninvited, disrupting routines, relationships, and peace of mind. The ability to meet life's chaos with calm is a skill that transforms not just how we handle difficulties, but how we experience the fullness of life itself. Equanimity, the art of staying balanced, is more than a lofty ideal. It is a practical and transformative approach to navigating the highs and lows of existence. It begins with understanding that life will never be entirely free of challenges. Instead of seeking to eliminate discomfort, equanimity teaches us to stand firm in the face of it. Chaos, whether external or internal, thrives on reaction. When we respond with heightened emotions, anger, fear, or despair, it fuels the fire, intensifying the storm. Equanimity allows us to meet those moments with clarity, neutralizing their hold over us. The foundation of equanimity lies in developing emotional awareness. Often, the chaos outside pales in comparison to the turmoil within. Anger, resentment, or panic can take over without warning, leaving us drained and reactive. Awareness means observing these emotions without judgment, recognizing them as temporary waves passing through. This practice creates space between you and your feelings, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It's not about suppressing emotions, but understanding their transient nature and refusing to let them dictate your actions. A key element of equanimity is acceptance, not passive resignation, but an active acknowledgement of reality. Resistance to what is only magnifies suffering. For example, when plans fall apart, frustration arises not from the situation itself, but from the gap between expectation and reality. Acceptance bridges this gap, allowing you to focus on what can be done rather than what has been lost. This shift in perspective transforms chaos into an opportunity for growth and adaptation. Equanimity also requires letting go of the illusion of control. Much of life's turmoil stems from the need to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances to fit our desires. But control is often an illusion, a fragile shield against the unpredictability of life. By releasing this need, you free yourself from unnecessary anxiety and frustration. Instead, you focus on what is truly within your power, your actions, your choices, and your attitude. This approach not only reduces stress, but empowers you to navigate challenges with confidence and wisdom. Another powerful aspect of equanimity is cultivating detachment from external validation. In a world that often equates worth with achievements, appearances, or approval, it's easy to feel unbalanced when these external markers falter. Equanimity reminds you that your value is intrinsic, not dependent on fleeting circumstances. By grounding yourself in this truth, you become less affected by praise or criticism, success or failure. This inner steadiness allows you to engage with life fully without being defined by its outcomes. The practice of mindfulness is integral to developing equanimity. Mindfulness sharpens your ability to stay present, even when chaos surrounds you. Often, stress arises not from the present moment, but from fears about the future or regrets about the past. Mindfulness anchors you in the now, helping you approach challenges with clarity and focus. It also enhances your ability to notice when your thoughts or emotions begin to spiral, giving you the opportunity to pause, reflect, and recalibrate before reacting. Equanimity is further strengthened by self-compassion. Life's challenges often bring self-doubt or harsh inner criticism, especially when things don't go as planned. Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. It acknowledges that setbacks and struggles are part of the human experience, not personal failures. By extending this compassion inward, you cultivate resilience and create a stable foundation for navigating life's storms. Resilience itself is a cornerstone of equanimity. While it's natural to feel shaken by adversity, resilience teaches you to bounce back stronger and wiser. It's not about avoiding hardship, but using it as a stepping stone for growth. This mindset transforms challenges into opportunities, helping you build confidence in your ability to weather life's uncertainties. Each time you rise after a fall, your capacity for equanimity deepens, and you become more capable of facing future difficulties with calm and courage. Equanimity also invites us to reframe our relationship with uncertainty. The unknown is often a source of fear, yet it is an inescapable part of life. Rather than resisting uncertainty, equanimity encourages us to lean into it with curiosity and openness. This doesn't mean passivity, but trusting that you can adapt and respond to whatever comes your way. This trust reduces anxiety and allows you to approach life with a sense of possibility rather than dread. Compassion for others is another powerful element of equanimity. When you extend understanding to those around you, even in moments of conflict, you create harmony instead of escalation. Compassion doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but it does mean recognizing that everyone is navigating their own struggles. This perspective softens your reactions, enabling you to respond with patience and wisdom rather than defensiveness or anger. Equanimity also requires setting boundaries, not just with others, but with your own thoughts and habits. Boundaries are not walls, but filters, protecting your peace without isolating you from the world. By identifying what drains your energy or disrupts your balance, you can make intentional choices to safeguard your well-being. These boundaries help you remain centered even when life becomes overwhelming. The practice of gratitude plays a significant role in equanimity. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, fostering contentment even in challenging times. It reminds you that chaos and calm coexist, and that moments of beauty or kindness can be found even in the midst of struggle. Gratitude doesn't ignore difficulties, but balances them with perspective, helping you maintain a steady heart and mind. Equanimity also involves cultivating patience. In a fast-paced world, the urge to resolve issues quickly often leads to frustration when outcomes take time. Patience teaches you to trust the process, allowing events to unfold naturally without forcing them. This practice not only reduces stress, but also enhances your ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Patience is not passive but active. It requires strength, presence, and trust in the rhythm of life. Another vital aspect of equanimity is recognizing the impermanence of all things. Just as joy is fleeting, so too are challenges. This understanding helps you navigate difficulties with the knowledge that they'll pass. It also encourages you to savor moments of peace and happiness without clinging to them. Impermanence doesn't diminish life's value. It enhances it, reminding you to embrace each moment fully while remaining grounded in the face of change. Equanimity invites you to approach life with humility. Humility acknowledges that you don't have all the answers and that it's okay to seek help, learn, or adapt as needed. This openness reduces the pressure to have everything figured out and fosters a sense of curiosity and growth. Humility also strengthens your ability to listen, connect, and collaborate with others, creating a sense of harmony even amid chaos. Equanimity empowers you to embrace your true self. When you are no longer swayed by external chaos or internal doubts, you become free to live authentically. This authenticity allows you to align your actions with your values, creating a life of integrity and purpose. Equanimity doesn't remove you from life's challenges. It equips you to face them with strength, wisdom, and grace. It is not an endpoint, but a practice, one that grows with each step you take on the journey of inner balance. Equanimity offers the strength to remain steady amid life's chaos, but this steadiness is deeply rooted in the ability to be fully present. Often, the mind drifts away, tangled in memories of what has already passed, or anxiously grasping at what is yet to come. This mental wandering pulls you out of the present moment, leaving you vulnerable to overwhelm. Mindfulness, the practice of bringing your attention to the here and now, becomes a powerful anchor, a shield against being consumed by regrets of the past or anxieties about the future. The essence of mindfulness lies in awareness. It is the conscious act of noticing your surroundings, thoughts and emotions without judgment. Awareness is not about controlling the mind or forcing stillness. It's about observing its natural tendencies with curiosity. The present moment is often overlooked because the mind habitually races ahead or replays what has already occurred. This relentless cycle creates stress, as it anchors you to what you cannot change or control. Mindfulness interrupts this cycle, gently pulling you back to the now, where life is truly happening. The practice of mindfulness begins with attention to the body. The body is always present. It does not exist in the past or future. By focusing on physical sensations, such as the rhythm of your breath, the feel of your feet on the ground, or the warmth of sunlight on your skin, you reconnect with the present. These sensations ground you, creating a sense of stability even when the mind feels scattered. This grounding is particularly helpful in moments of stress, as it allows you to pause, reset, and approach situations with greater clarity. Mindfulness also extends to your thoughts. The mind generates an endless stream of ideas, judgments, and fears, many of which go unnoticed. These unexamined thoughts often shape your mood, decisions, and actions. Mindfulness invites you to observe these thoughts without becoming entangled in them. For example, if a thought of self-doubt arises, instead of identifying with it, you simply acknowledge its presence. There is self-doubt, you might say to yourself. This small act of acknowledgement creates distance, reminding you that thoughts are not facts, but fleeting mental events. By cultivating mindfulness, you begin to break free from the grip of emotional reactivity. When a challenging situation arises, the habitual response might be anger, frustration, or fear. These reactions often come from the mind's interpretation of the event rather than the event itself. Mindfulness allows you to pause before reacting, giving you the space to choose a response that aligns with your values. This practice reduces the emotional turbulence that often accompanies difficult moments, fostering a sense of calm and control. The power of mindfulness lies in its ability to transform mundane moments into meaningful experiences. Everyday tasks, eating a meal, walking or washing dishes, become opportunities for presence. By paying attention to the sensory details of these activities, you engage with life more fully. For instance, when eating, you might notice the texture, flavor, and aroma of your food. This simple act of awareness not only enhances your enjoyment, but also brings a sense of gratitude for the moment. Such practices remind you that the present is not a waiting room for the future, but the essence of life itself. Mindfulness also serves as a shield against the overwhelm that comes from multitasking. In a world that often glorifies productivity, the tendency to juggle multiple tasks can leave you feeling scattered and exhausted. Mindfulness encourages single tasking, focusing your full attention on one activity at a time. This approach not only improves the quality of your work, but also reduces stress, as it eliminates the mental strain of constantly shifting focus. By committing to the present task, you cultivate a sense of flow, where effort feels natural and fulfilling. Another vital aspect of mindfulness is its role in navigating uncertainty. The mind often seeks certainty as a way to feel secure, but life's inherent unpredictability can make this pursuit futile. Mindfulness teaches you to sit with the discomfort of not knowing, to observe the anxiety it generates without being consumed by it. This practice builds resilience, allowing you to face the unknown with curiosity rather than fear. By staying present, you free yourself from the burden of trying to control what lies ahead, focusing instead on what you can do now. Mindfulness is also deeply connected to compassion. When you practice mindfulness, you become more attuned to the experiences of others. By observing your own thoughts and emotions, you develop a greater understanding of the struggles that others may face. This awareness fosters empathy, enabling you to approach relationships with kindness and patience. Mindfulness reminds you that each interaction is an opportunity to connect, to be fully present with another person without the distractions of judgment or expectation. One of the most transformative aspects of mindfulness is its ability to shift your perspective on time. The past and future often dominate your thoughts, pulling you away from the richness of the present. Mindfulness gently redirects your focus, helping you see that the present is where life unfolds. This shift not only reduces regret and anxiety, but also enhances your ability to savor the beauty of each moment. Whether it's the laughter of a loved one or the quiet stillness of a morning, mindfulness helps you appreciate life's fleeting gifts. The practice of mindfulness also deepens your self-awareness. By observing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, you gain insight into the patterns that shape your life. This awareness empowers you to make conscious choices rather than being driven by unconscious habits. For instance, if you notice a tendency to avoid difficult conversations, mindfulness allows you to explore the underlying fear and address it with intention. This process of self-discovery fosters personal growth, enabling you to live more authentically. Mindfulness can also be a powerful tool for managing pain, whether physical or emotional. Pain often triggers resistance, which amplifies suffering. Mindfulness invites you to explore pain with curiosity, noticing its sensations without judgment. This practice doesn't eliminate pain, but changes your relationship with it, reducing its intensity and emotional impact. By accepting the presence of pain without resisting it, you create space for healing and resilience. Gratitude is a natural companion to mindfulness. When you are present, you begin to notice the small joys and blessings that might otherwise go unnoticed. A kind gesture, a moment of silence, or the vibrant colors of a sunset become sources of gratitude. This practice shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, fostering a sense of contentment and appreciation. Gratitude and mindfulness together create a powerful foundation for a fulfilling and balanced life. The breath is often used as an anchor for mindfulness because it is always present, always accessible. By focusing on the rhythm of your breath, you can calm the mind and bring yourself back to the present moment. This practice is especially helpful in moments of stress or overwhelm, as it provides a simple yet effective way to regain balance. Each inhale and exhale becomes a reminder that you are alive, connected, and capable of navigating whatever arises. Mindfulness also extends to your relationship with goals and ambitions. While striving for growth is natural, it's easy to become fixated on future outcomes at the expense of the present. Mindfulness encourages you to pursue your goals with intention while remaining rooted in the now. By focusing on the process rather than the result, you find fulfillment in the journey, reducing the pressure to achieve and the disappointment when things don't go as planned. The practice of mindfulness is a lifelong journey, not a destination. It requires patience, commitment, and self-compassion. There will be moments when the mind wanders or when distractions pull you away from presence. These moments are not failures, but opportunities to begin again. Each time you return to the present, you strengthen your ability to stay mindful, creating a ripple effect that touches every aspect of your life. Mindfulness is not about escaping reality, but embracing it fully. It invites you to meet each moment with openness, curiosity, and acceptance, no matter how difficult or mundane. By staying present, you cultivate a sense of peace and clarity that transcends the chaos of daily life. This practice is a gift you give yourself, a way to reconnect with the essence of who you are and the beauty of the world around you. Through mindfulness, you discover that the present moment holds everything you need. It is not a fleeting distraction or a place to escape, but the very foundation of life. By committing to this practice, you build a life rooted in awareness, resilience, and profound connection. Mindfulness becomes not just a skill, but a way of being, transforming every moment into an opportunity for presence, growth, and gratitude. Mindfulness grounds us in the present, shielding us from the pull of past regrets and future anxieties. Yet, even with mindfulness, a deeper understanding of life's core challenges is essential to finding lasting peace. Beneath the surface of our struggles lies a universal truth, the nature of suffering and its root causes. To rise above suffering, one must understand it, confront it, and transform it. The Four Noble Truths, foundational to Buddhist philosophy, provide a clear, transformative path for transcending the pain that binds so many of us. Suffering is an undeniable part of human existence. It appears in subtle forms, restlessness, dissatisfaction, or longing, and in more apparent ways, such as grief, loss, or physical pain. The First Noble Truth acknowledges this reality without judgment. To many, this might seem like a pessimistic view, but it is far from it. Recognizing suffering is not about dwelling in despair, but about illuminating what often remains hidden. By bringing suffering into the light, we take the first step toward freeing ourselves from its grip. This recognition of suffering also helps us realize how interconnected our lives are. Everyone, regardless of status, culture, or background, experiences suffering. It binds humanity together in shared vulnerability. Acknowledging this universality fosters compassion, not only toward others, but also toward oneself. Too often, suffering is met with resistance or self-judgment, as though it were a personal failure. The First Noble Truth teaches that suffering is not something to be ashamed of, but a natural part of the human experience. The Second Noble Truth delves into the cause of suffering, attachment and craving. These desires are not limited to material possessions, but extend to emotional dependencies, control over outcomes, and resistance to change. When we cling to something, hoping it will provide lasting happiness or shield us from discomfort, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Nothing in life remains static, and attachment to impermanent things creates a cycle of frustration and longing. Craving often stems from a misunderstanding of where happiness truly lies. Many pursue external goals, wealth, recognition, relationships, with the hope that achieving them will bring fulfillment. While these things can provide temporary satisfaction, they inevitably fall short of the deep contentment we seek. The Second Noble Truth reveals that the root of suffering is not the absence of these things, but the mistaken belief that they can provide permanent happiness. By letting go of this illusion, we begin to loosen the chains of craving. Letting go does not mean rejecting life or its joys. Instead, it involves cultivating a sense of inner freedom, where happiness arises independently of external conditions. This freedom requires awareness of how attachment manifests in daily life. Whether it's the frustration of losing something or the anxiety of wanting more, recognizing these patterns allows us to interrupt them. This practice is not about suppressing desire, but understanding its transient nature and choosing not to be ruled by it. The third noble truth offers hope by showing that freedom from suffering is possible. It teaches that by releasing attachment and craving, we can find peace. This cessation of suffering is not an abstract ideal, but a lived experience available to anyone willing to embark on the journey. This truth reminds us that suffering is not a permanent state, but one that can be transformed through insight and practice. The possibility of liberation serves as a beacon, guiding us toward a life of greater ease and clarity. Freedom from suffering does not mean the absence of challenges or emotions. Life will still present difficulties, but our relationship with them changes. Instead of being consumed by pain or driven by desire, we approach life with balance and understanding. This transformation is not about escaping reality, but engaging with it more fully, unburdened by the illusions that cause unnecessary suffering. The fourth noble truth provides a practical blueprint for achieving this freedom, the Noble Eightfold Path. This path is not a set of rigid rules, but a guide for living with wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. It addresses every aspect of life, from how we think and speak to how we act and cultivate our minds. By integrating these principles into daily life, we create the conditions for lasting peace. The first component of the path, right view, involves seeing life through the lens of truth. This means understanding the nature of suffering, impermanence, and the interconnectedness of all things. Right view is not about adopting a dogma, but cultivating a perspective that aligns with reality. It helps us navigate life with clarity, reducing the confusion and ignorance that often lead to suffering. Right intention follows, emphasizing the importance of aligning our thoughts with our values. Intentions rooted in kindness, compassion, and renunciation pave the way for wise actions. This step reminds us that our inner world shapes our outer experience. By cultivating intentions that reflect our highest aspirations, we set the foundation for a life of integrity and peace. Ethical conduct, addressed through right speech, right action, and right livelihood, forms the next layer of the path. These principles guide us to live in harmony with others and ourselves. Right speech involves speaking truthfully and kindly, avoiding words that harm or deceive. Right action encourages us to act in ways that promote well-being and avoid causing harm. Right livelihood calls for choosing work that aligns with our values, contributing positively to the world rather than exploiting it. Mental discipline, developed through right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, is essential for cultivating a steady and focused mind. Right effort involves directing our energy toward what is wholesome, such as nurturing positive habits and letting go of harmful ones. Right mindfulness, as previously explored, anchors us in the present, helping us respond to life with clarity. Right concentration deepens this focus, training the mind to remain calm and unwavering even amid turmoil. The Noble Eightfold Path is not a linear journey, but a holistic approach to living. Each element reinforces the others, creating a balanced and integrated practice. As we walk this path, we begin to see how our choices shape our experience of life. We move from reacting unconsciously to living intentionally, cultivating wisdom, compassion, and resilience. The four noble truths teach that suffering is not something to be feared or avoided, but an opportunity for transformation. By understanding its roots and following the path to freedom, we unlock the potential for a life unburdened by illusion. This journey requires patience, courage, and self-compassion, but its rewards are profound. It offers not just a way to rise above suffering, but a blueprint for living with authenticity, joy, and peace. The Four Noble Truths provide a foundation for understanding and transforming suffering, but the way forward requires not just insight, but practical balance. Life often tempts us toward extremes, excessive indulgence on one hand and severe restriction on the other. Both paths can lead to turmoil, pulling us away from peace. The middle way offers a profound alternative, guiding us to walk a path of balance, wisdom, and harmony. It teaches that extremes are not where growth or contentment thrive. Instead, it is within the center, the steady ground between them, that true resilience and peace are found. Balance does not come easily. The world often pushes us to choose sides, to seek security in the comfort of absolutes. Whether it's the relentless pursuit of pleasure or the rigid discipline of denial, extremes can feel alluring because they offer certainty. Yet, over time, both paths reveal their limitations. Indulgence may bring temporary gratification, but it often leads to attachment, dissatisfaction, or physical and emotional strain. On the other hand, excessive restraint can drain joy from life, fostering resentment, burnout, and a sense of disconnection. The middle way teaches that neither extreme is sustainable or fulfilling. It encourages us to navigate life with moderation, adapting to circumstances with flexibility and discernment. This approach requires mindfulness, as balance is not a fixed state, but a dynamic process. What feels balanced today may need adjustment tomorrow. By remaining present and aware, we can fine-tune our actions, thoughts, and decisions to align with the conditions of each moment. In daily life, balance often begins with recognizing the ways we lean toward extremes. For some, it might be in their work habits, swinging between overworking and complete avoidance. For others, it might show up in relationships, where attachment and detachment alternate in cycles of longing and withdrawal. The middle way invites us to observe these patterns without judgment, understanding that extremes often stem from a desire to escape discomfort. Whether we're chasing pleasure or avoiding pain, both paths pull us away from the present and create unnecessary suffering. The middle way also reshapes our relationship with goals and ambitions. Striving for success is natural, but when ambition becomes obsession, it leads to stress, exhaustion, and a sense of never being enough. Conversely, giving up entirely can create stagnation and a lack of purpose. The middle way encourages us to pursue our goals with determination while remaining unattached to the outcome. This balance allows us to engage fully in the process, finding meaning and satisfaction in the journey rather than tying our happiness to the destination. Relationships, too, benefit from the principles of the middle way. Extremes often manifest in how we interact with others, seeking control or approval, overgiving, or withdrawing completely. The middle way teaches us to approach relationships with mutual respect and realistic expectations. This means offering support without losing ourselves, setting boundaries without shutting people out, and communicating with honesty and compassion. Balance in relationships fosters connection and trust, reducing conflict and strengthening bonds. The middle way extends to how we care for our bodies and minds. Health is an area where extremes are particularly common. Crash diets, overexertion, or neglecting self-care altogether. The middle way reminds us that sustainable well-being comes from consistent, balanced practices. Eating nourishing foods, moving our bodies, getting enough rest, and allowing space for relaxation and enjoyment are all part of this approach. It's not about rigid routines or perfection, but about creating habits that support long-term vitality and mental clarity. In decision-making, the middle way helps us navigate complexity with wisdom. Life rarely offers clear-cut choices, and clinging to absolutes can lead to poor outcomes. The middle way encourages us to weigh options thoughtfully, considering both logic and emotion, short-term needs and long-term consequences. This balanced approach prevents impulsive reactions while avoiding the paralysis of overthinking. By trusting our intuition and reasoning, we can make decisions that reflect our values and adapt to changing circumstances. The middle way also transforms how we respond to adversity. Extreme reactions to challenges, whether denial, anger, or despair, often exacerbate the difficulty. The middle way offers a calm, measured approach, acknowledging the reality of the situation without being overwhelmed by it. This resilience allows us to face setbacks with perspective, focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Balance in adversity doesn't mean ignoring pain, but processing it in a way that supports growth and healing. Practicing the middle way requires self-awareness, as it is easy to fall back into habits of excess or deprivation. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process, helping us notice when we veer off course and gently guiding us back. Each moment offers an opportunity to recalibrate, to ask ourselves whether our actions align with balance and whether they serve our overall well-being. This ongoing practice builds the strength to navigate life with consistency and ease. The middle way is also about embracing imperfection. Extremes often arise from a desire for control, whether it's striving for flawless performance or avoiding vulnerability. The middle way teaches us to accept our imperfections and those of others, recognizing that growth comes from embracing the messy, unpredictable nature of life. This acceptance fosters compassion and reduces the pressure to meet unrealistic standards, creating space for authenticity and connection. Balance is not about avoiding challenges, but engaging with them wisely. The middle way teaches us that life's highs and lows are natural, and neither should dominate our experience. By finding the center between them, we cultivate a sense of steadiness that allows us to weather the storms and savor the joys. This balance brings a quiet confidence, a knowing that we can navigate whatever comes our way without being swayed by extremes. The middle way also invites us to reflect on our priorities. Extremes often arise when we lose sight of what truly matters, becoming consumed by distractions or external pressures. By reconnecting with our core values, we gain clarity on where to focus our time and energy. This alignment helps us live with intention, making choices that reflect our authentic selves rather than chasing fleeting desires or societal expectations. In its essence, the middle way is a practice of harmony within ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. It teaches us to honor both our needs and the needs of those we interact with, creating relationships and environments that are grounded in mutual respect and understanding. This balance nurtures peace, not as a distant goal, but as an ongoing way of living. Through the middle way, we learn that balance is not a compromise, but a source of strength. It allows us to move through life with resilience and grace, engaging fully without being consumed. It is not about avoiding difficulty, but meeting it with wisdom, steadiness, and an open heart. The middle way offers a path to harmony, a way of living that honors the complexities of life while keeping us rooted in peace. It is a guide not only for navigating challenges, but for thriving amid the ebb and flow of existence. The middle way teaches us the beauty of balance, a harmonious existence where we can embrace life's complexities without being pulled toward extremes. Yet, within this balance lies another essential skill, the ability to love deeply and show compassion without becoming lost in the emotions of others. Compassion is one of humanity's most profound qualities, but it can also be one of the most misunderstood. Without wisdom, compassion can turn into over-identification, creating emotional entanglements that harm both ourselves and those we seek to support. The path of compassionate living requires a delicate balance, giving freely, yet staying grounded in our own truth. Compassion begins with understanding. It's the ability to see another's struggles, joys, and vulnerabilities without judgment. This connection to others can spark immense empathy, yet it's in this same connection that the risk of attachment arises. Attachment happens when we take on another person's suffering as our own, feeling responsible for fixing their pain or controlling their outcomes. True compassion, however, is not about control. It's about presence. It's the art of holding space for others while maintaining the boundaries needed to preserve our emotional balance. The foundation of compassionate living is rooted in self-awareness. To offer genuine compassion, you must first understand your own emotional tendencies. Do you feel the need to rescue others, even at the expense of your well-being? Do you confuse empathy with responsibility, believing that you must carry the burden of someone else's pain? Recognizing these patterns allows you to approach compassion with clarity and intention. It's not about hardening your heart, but softening it in a way that doesn't compromise your sense of self. One of the greatest misconceptions about compassion is that it requires self-sacrifice. While there may be moments when compassion calls for giving generously, this giving must come from a place of strength, not depletion. If you neglect your own needs in the process of supporting others, your compassion becomes unsustainable. True compassion flows from abundance, not scarcity. Taking care of your own mental, emotional, and physical health ensures that your acts of kindness are not only genuine, but enduring. Compassion without attachment also requires letting go of the desire to control outcomes. When we care deeply about someone, it's natural to want to alleviate their pain or guide them toward what we believe is best. But this desire often leads to frustration, as we cannot dictate how others navigate their own journeys. Compassion asks us to trust that each person has the capacity to grow and heal in their own time. Instead of trying to fix or direct, we offer support, understanding, and encouragement, respecting their autonomy. Boundaries are an essential part of compassionate living. Without boundaries, compassion can turn into overreach, where the line between helping and enabling becomes blurred. Healthy boundaries allow you to give without overextending, to care without losing yourself. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but one of respect, both for yourself and for the other person. It creates a space where compassion can thrive, free from resentment or obligation. Mindfulness plays a critical role in maintaining compassion without attachment. Mindfulness helps you stay present, observing your emotions and reactions as they arise. When you feel the pull of attachment, whether it's the urge to fix, control, or over-identify, you can pause, reflect, and recalibrate. This practice keeps your compassion rooted in awareness, ensuring that your actions come from a place of wisdom rather than impulsive emotional entanglement. Equally important is the practice of self-compassion. Many people are quick to extend kindness to others while neglecting their own needs. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same understanding and care that you offer to others. It reminds you that your well-being matters, that you cannot pour from an empty cup. By nurturing yourself, you create the emotional stability needed to support others without being overwhelmed. Compassion without attachment also teaches us the importance of acceptance. Often, attachment arises from resistance to the reality of someone else's pain or choices. Acceptance doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior or giving up on helping. It means acknowledging what is, without trying to force it into what you think it should be. This perspective allows you to offer unconditional support, free from the frustration of unmet expectations. In relationships, compassionate living fosters deeper connection and trust. When you approach others with empathy and understanding, they feel seen and valued. But when your compassion is entangled with attachment, it can create dependency or resentment. True compassion respects the individuality of each person, recognizing that love is not about possession, but about freedom. This approach strengthens relationships, allowing them to flourish in a space of mutual respect and authenticity. Compassion without attachment also transforms how we handle conflict. When disagreements arise, attachment often fuels defensiveness, anger, or the need to prove ourselves right. Compassion invites us to approach conflict with an open heart, seeking understanding rather than victory. This shift in perspective not only resolves disputes more peacefully, but deepens our connection to others, even in moments of tension. Another essential element of compassionate living is the ability to let go. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, we cannot change a situation or alleviate someone's pain. In these moments, attachment can lead to feelings of failure or guilt. Compassion without attachment reminds us that our role is not to control outcomes, but to offer presence and care. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control what is beyond our power. Gratitude is a powerful ally in cultivating compassion without attachment. When we focus on the positive aspects of our relationships and experiences, we shift away from the fear of loss or disappointment. Gratitude reminds us to cherish the connections we have without clinging to them. It helps us see that love is not diminished by impermanence, but enriched by the awareness that every moment is a gift. Compassionate living also extends beyond personal relationships. It encompasses how we interact with our communities, the environment, and even ourselves. Acts of kindness, whether big or small, create ripples that touch countless lives. Yet, these acts must come from a place of balance. When compassion is driven by guilt, obligation, or the need for recognition, it loses its authenticity. True compassion is quiet, steady, and selfless, requiring no reward or acknowledgement. To live compassionately without attachment is to embrace life with open hands. It is to love freely, knowing that love is not about holding on, but about letting be. This approach doesn't diminish the depth of your care. It enhances it, allowing you to give fully without fear or expectation. It is a practice of liberation, both for yourself and for those you care about. Ultimately, compassion without attachment is about aligning your actions with your values, creating a life that reflects kindness, wisdom, and balance. It teaches us that love is not about ownership, but about connection, that care is not about control, but about presence. By embracing this way of living, you cultivate a heart that is both open and strong, capable of holding the world's joys and sorrows without being overwhelmed. This is the power of compassionate living, a life that uplifts not only others, but yourself. Compassion without attachment allows us to love freely while maintaining our emotional balance. But even as we navigate relationships with care and wisdom, a deeper challenge remains: the weight of judgment. Whether it's the opinions of others or the expectations we place on ourselves, judgment often becomes a barrier to inner peace. Rising above this requires a transformative practice: non-judgmental awareness. This is not just about tolerating others, but about freeing ourselves from the grip of external validation and the cycle of comparison that diminishes our sense of self. Non-judgmental awareness begins with recognizing how much of our mental energy is consumed by judgment. It may appear in the form of harsh self-criticism, the need to evaluate others, or the anxiety that arises from worrying about how we are perceived. These judgments can feel automatic, as if they are part of the fabric of daily life, but they are learned behaviors, patterns shaped by cultural norms, past experiences, and the human tendency to categorize and compare. By bringing awareness to these patterns, we take the first step toward liberation. At its core, judgment thrives on attachment. Attachment to a certain image of ourselves, a need for approval, or the belief that our worth is tied to external measures. When we judge others, it often reflects an insecurity or fear within ourselves. Similarly, when we fear judgment, it reveals a reliance on validation from outside sources. Non-judgmental awareness invites us to look inward and question these attachments, shifting our focus from external validation to internal alignment with our values. Letting go of judgment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or passive. It means cultivating a mindset of curiosity and openness, where we observe without labeling. This practice requires mindfulness, as judgment often arises unconsciously. For instance, when faced with criticism, the automatic response might be defensiveness or shame. Non-judgmental awareness allows us to pause, acknowledge the criticism without attaching meaning to it, and respond with clarity rather than reactivity. Freeing ourselves from the opinions of others involves understanding that everyone sees the world through their own lens. People's judgments are often reflections of their experiences, beliefs, and insecurities, not absolute truths. When we internalize others' opinions, we give them power over our peace. Non-judgmental awareness teaches us to separate ourselves from these projections, recognizing that they do not define who we are. Comparison is another form of judgment that traps us in cycles of dissatisfaction. In a world where social media and cultural pressures often dictate standards of success and beauty, it's easy to fall into the habit of measuring ourselves against others. This comparison creates feelings of inadequacy or superiority, both of which disconnect us from our authentic selves. Non-judgmental awareness helps us break free from this cycle by shifting our focus inward. Instead of asking, "How do I measure up?" we ask, "Am I living in alignment with my values?" Self-judgment can be one of the most challenging forms to overcome, as it often stems from deeply ingrained beliefs about worthiness and perfection. The inner critic can be relentless, amplifying mistakes and minimizing achievements. Non-judgmental awareness involves recognizing this voice without identifying with it. Instead of resisting or silencing the inner critic, we acknowledge its presence and gently redirect our attention to self-compassion. This practice fosters resilience and allows us to grow without the weight of unnecessary self-blame. In relationships, non-judgment creates space for deeper connection and understanding. When we judge others, we place them in rigid categories that limit our ability to see them fully. This often leads to misunderstandings or conflicts as we project our assumptions onto their actions. By approaching others with non-judgmental awareness, we create room for empathy and genuine dialogue. This openness not only strengthens relationships, but also reduces the emotional burden of carrying resentment or expectations. Non-judgmental awareness also extends to how we perceive the world around us. The habit of labeling experiences as good or bad often leads to unnecessary suffering. When something doesn't go as planned, judgment magnifies the disappointment, creating frustration or regret. By observing events without attaching labels, we learn to accept them as they are. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but approaching them with equanimity, recognizing that each experience has value, even if it's not immediately apparent. Cultivating non-judgmental awareness requires practice and patience. It begins with small moments, catching ourselves when we label someone's actions, criticize our own efforts, or worry about what others might think. These moments are opportunities to pause, reflect, and choose a different response. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, transforming the way we interact with ourselves and the world. Another powerful tool in developing non-judgmental awareness is gratitude. When we focus on what we appreciate, the need to judge diminishes. Gratitude shifts our perspective, reminding us of the abundance in our lives and reducing the tendency to compare or critique. It also fosters a sense of contentment, helping us find peace in the present moment rather than striving for an idealized version of ourselves or our circumstances. Non-judgmental awareness is not about ignoring differences or avoiding discernment. Discernment involves making thoughtful choices based on wisdom and values, while judgment often carries an emotional charge that clouds our perception. By practicing discernment without judgment, we make decisions that align with our integrity without diminishing ourselves or others. Freeing ourselves from judgment also involves embracing impermanence. Much of judgment stems from a desire for certainty or control, wanting things to be a certain way and resisting when they are not. Non-judgmental awareness teaches us to flow with change, recognizing that life is fluid and ever-evolving. This perspective reduces anxiety and creates space for adaptability and growth. As we cultivate non-judgmental awareness, we begin to see the freedom it brings. Without the constant weight of judgment, we move through life with greater ease and authenticity. We become more accepting of ourselves and others, creating a foundation for meaningful relationships and a deeper sense of inner peace. This practice is not about perfection, but about progress, a journey toward living with greater clarity, kindness, and understanding. Through non-judgment, we liberate ourselves from the opinions of others and step into the fullness of who we truly are. Non-judgmental awareness opens a path to freedom, helping us rise above the endless cycle of external opinions and internal critique. Yet, to sustain this practice, a deeper shift is required, one that changes how we perceive the world itself. At the heart of this transformation lies right view, a perspective that aligns us with truth and clarity. By adopting this lens of wisdom, we uncover the power to move through life with resilience, grace, and a sense of purpose that remains untouched by negativity. Right view is not about imposing rigid beliefs or seeing life through a specific ideology. Instead, it is about understanding reality as it is, free from distortion, wishful thinking, or fear. This perspective begins with recognizing the impermanence of all things. Everything in life, whether it brings joy or pain, is transient. When we resist this truth, clinging to what feels secure or pushing away what feels uncomfortable, we create unnecessary suffering. Right view teaches us to embrace impermanence, allowing us to engage with life fully without becoming attached. Another essential aspect of right view is understanding the interconnectedness of all things. Life does not exist in isolation. Every action, thought, and event is part of a greater web. This perspective dissolves the illusion of separateness, reminding us that our choices ripple outward, affecting others and the world around us. It also fosters a sense of humility as we recognize that our struggles and joys are part of a shared human experience. This interconnectedness encourages compassion and reduces the tendency to judge or compete. Right view also involves seeing through the illusions created by desire and aversion. Often, we are driven by cravings for pleasure, success, or approval, believing that these will bring lasting happiness. Similarly, we resist discomfort, failure, or criticism, fearing that they will define us. Right view reveals that both desire and aversion are fleeting. They do not hold the power to determine our worth or happiness unless we allow them to. By understanding this, we free ourselves from their hold, cultivating a steady mind that remains balanced in the face of life's highs and lows. One of the most profound teachings of right view is the principle of cause and effect. This perspective encourages us to take responsibility for our actions, knowing that every choice shapes our reality. It's not about blaming ourselves for past mistakes, but recognizing that we have the power to create a better future through mindful decisions. Right view helps us see challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than as obstacles to be avoided. This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones, fostering resilience and self-empowerment. To cultivate right view, mindfulness plays a crucial role. Awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and reactions allows us to notice when we are veering away from clarity. For example, if we find ourselves consumed by anger or envy, mindfulness helps us pause and reflect. What belief or expectation is fueling these feelings? What perspective would bring peace instead of conflict? This practice of self-inquiry deepens our understanding of right view, helping us align our thoughts and actions with wisdom. Right view also calls us to examine the stories we tell ourselves. These narratives, often shaped by past experiences or societal conditioning, influence how we see the world. For instance, a story of unworthiness might lead us to interpret criticism as confirmation of our flaws, while a story of entitlement might make us resentful when things don't go our way. Right view invites us to challenge these stories, replacing them with perspectives rooted in truth and kindness. By rewriting these narratives, we transform how we experience life. Another vital component of right view is gratitude. When we focus on what is lacking, life can feel like a constant struggle. Right view shifts our attention to what is present, fostering appreciation for the simple joys and blessings that often go unnoticed. This perspective doesn't ignore difficulties, but balances them with gratitude, creating a sense of contentment and resilience. Gratitude also helps us see beyond ourselves, recognizing the efforts and contributions of others in our lives. Right view also teaches us to let go of fixed expectations. Often, suffering arises not from the events themselves, but from the gap between reality and what we believe it should be. When we cling to expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. Right view encourages us to approach life with openness, adapting to what unfolds rather than resisting it. This flexibility reduces stress and allows us to navigate change with grace. In relationships, right view fosters deeper understanding and harmony. Instead of reacting to others based on assumptions or judgments, we approach them with curiosity and empathy. This perspective recognizes that everyone is shaped by their own experiences and challenges, which often influence their actions. By seeing others through the lens of wisdom, we cultivate patience and compassion, reducing conflict and strengthening connection. Right view also enhances our ability to make decisions. When we are driven by fear or desire, our choices often lead to regret or imbalance. Right view helps us pause and consider the long-term consequences of our actions, aligning them with our values and goals. This clarity not only reduces impulsive decisions, but also builds confidence in our ability to navigate life's complexities. Right view invites us to embrace life's uncertainties. While the mind often seeks control, the truth is that much of life is unpredictable. Right view helps us accept this reality without fear, trusting in our ability to adapt and grow. This trust creates a sense of inner stability that remains unshaken even when external circumstances change. Through the lens of right view, life becomes a journey of discovery and growth. It is not about avoiding challenges, but about meeting them with clarity, courage, and wisdom. This perspective transforms how we experience ourselves, others, and the world, offering a path to peace that transcends the noise of negativity. By practicing right view, we align ourselves with the truth, creating a foundation for a life of balance, resilience, and joy. Seeing life through the lens of wisdom transforms how we engage with challenges, revealing the truth behind the surface of our experiences. Yet, even with clarity, a significant obstacle remains: the attachment to self, the ego. It's not just an abstract concept. It's the subtle, persistent voice that craves validation, takes offense easily, and thrives on stories of superiority or inadequacy. Letting go of this attachment doesn't mean losing your identity. Instead, it's a pathway to profound freedom, unshackling you from emotional triggers and conflicts that often arise when the ego takes the lead. The ego operates by crafting a narrative around who we are, our achievements, failures, roles, and perceptions of self-worth. These narratives can feel like anchors, giving us a sense of stability in an uncertain world. But when the ego becomes overly attached to these stories, it creates a rigid identity that resists growth and fosters emotional reactivity. For example, if you view yourself as someone who must always succeed, a single failure can feel like a personal attack. Similarly, if you see yourself as inferior, compliments or achievements may be dismissed as flukes. Both extremes trap you in a cycle of validation and doubt. Freedom from ego begins with recognizing its presence. The ego thrives on comparison, constantly measuring itself against others. This can manifest as pride when we perceive ourselves as superior, or as envy and insecurity when we feel inferior. By becoming aware of these tendencies, we create space to question their validity. Why do we need to be better or worse than someone else? What purpose does this comparison serve? This awareness weakens the ego's grip, allowing us to interact with others without judgment or competition. Non-attachment to ego also involves letting go of the need to always be right. The ego often equates being wrong with weakness, leading to defensiveness and conflict. By releasing this attachment, we open ourselves to learning and growth. Admitting mistakes or listening to opposing viewpoints doesn't diminish our value. It enhances our understanding and fosters connection. This shift transforms conflicts into opportunities for collaboration, reducing tension in personal and professional relationships. The ego's attachment to praise and criticism is another source of suffering. When we tie our self-worth to external validation, we become vulnerable to the opinions of others. Praise can inflate the ego, creating a dependency on approval, while criticism can deflate it, leading to shame or resentment. Letting go of this attachment doesn't mean ignoring feedback, but approaching it with equanimity. Instead of taking praise or criticism personally, we view it as information, useful but not definitive. This perspective fosters resilience, allowing us to grow without being controlled by others' perceptions. Non-attachment to ego also frees us from the need to control how others perceive us. The ego often drives us to curate an image, striving to appear successful, intelligent, or likable. This effort can be exhausting and inauthentic, as it prioritizes appearance over substance. By letting go of this need, we embrace authenticity, valuing who we are over how we are seen. This authenticity creates deeper, more meaningful connections, as it invites others to relate to us as we truly are. One of the ego's most insidious tendencies is its attachment to past grievances or future anxieties. The stories we tell about ourselves often include wounds, times we were wronged or failed, and ambitions that hinge on future success. These narratives keep us tethered to what has been or what might be, pulling us away from the present. Non-attachment to ego involves releasing these stories, not by denying their existence, but by recognizing that they do not define us. The past is a teacher, not a jailer, and the future is a possibility, not a guarantee. Practicing non-attachment to ego also reshapes how we approach achievement and failure. The ego loves to claim victories as proof of its worth and avoids failures as threats to its identity. This creates a cycle of striving and fear, where success becomes a requirement and failure an unbearable burden. By letting go of this attachment, we see achievements as moments of effort rewarded, not as measures of our value. Similarly, failures become opportunities to learn and adapt, not as reflections of inadequacy. This perspective fosters a healthier relationship with ambition, one that values the journey over the destination. Letting go of ego doesn't mean abandoning pride in your work or aspirations. Instead, it's about aligning pride with purpose rather than personal validation. When we act from a place of service, whether to a cause, a community, or a principle, the ego takes a back seat. Our actions become expressions of our values, not efforts to bolster our image. This shift creates a sense of fulfillment that is deeper and more enduring than the fleeting satisfaction of ego-driven pursuits. Non-attachment to ego also transforms how we experience relationships. The ego often turns relationships into arenas for validation, competition, or control. Whether it's seeking constant affirmation from a partner or trying to dominate a conversation, these behaviors stem from insecurity and attachment. By letting go of ego, we approach relationships with humility and openness, valuing connection over control. This creates space for trust, empathy, and mutual growth, enriching our interactions with others. Mindfulness is a powerful tool in dissolving the ego. The practice of observing thoughts and emotions without judgment helps us see the ego in action. When we notice feelings of pride, envy, or defensiveness, we can pause and reflect. What is the ego trying to protect or prove? This awareness allows us to choose responses that align with our values rather than reacting out of habit. Over time, mindfulness weakens the ego's hold, fostering a sense of inner peace and clarity. Gratitude is another antidote to ego. The ego often focuses on what is lacking, what we don't have, what we haven't achieved, or how we fall short. Gratitude shifts this perspective, directing our attention to what is present and sufficient. It reminds us that our worth is not tied to possessions or accomplishments, but to the simple, profound fact of being. This shift not only quiets the ego, but also cultivates a sense of contentment and abundance. Non-attachment to ego also involves embracing impermanence. The ego clings to stability, fearing change as a threat to its identity. Whether it's the loss of a job, a relationship, or a role, change often feels like a loss of self. By recognizing that all things are temporary, we free ourselves from this fear. Change becomes an opportunity for growth and renewal, not a threat to our existence. This perspective fosters resilience, allowing us to adapt and thrive in the face of life's uncertainties. Ultimately, non-attachment to ego is about shifting from a self-centered to a self-aware perspective. It's not about erasing the self, but about seeing it in its proper context, a part of a larger whole. This awareness dissolves the barriers created by pride, insecurity, and judgment, opening the door to a life of greater harmony, authenticity, and freedom. Through this practice, we discover that true strength lies not in defending the ego, but in letting it go. Letting go of the ego opens the door to a life of clarity and authenticity, but even with this newfound freedom, the mind can still be swayed by external chaos and inner turmoil. In those moments where emotions swell and thoughts scatter, grounding yourself becomes essential. The breath, ever present and steady, offers a powerful anchor, a direct path back to calm and focus. Through mindful breathing, you cultivate a sanctuary within, a place untouched by the storm of life's turbulence. This practice is not only about finding calm, but also about reclaiming control over your inner state. Breathing is a natural, involuntary act, yet when harnessed consciously, it becomes a profound tool for transformation. It is always with you, a bridge between body and mind, grounding you in the present. When the mind races with worry or anger, the breath reflects this chaos, becoming shallow and rapid. Conversely, by intentionally slowing and deepening the breath, you can influence the mind, inviting it to follow the rhythm of calm. This interplay between breath and thought is the essence of mindful breathing, a way to interrupt the cycle of stress and restore balance. The first step in using the breath as an anchor is cultivating awareness of it. Most people breathe unconsciously, rarely noticing its rhythm or depth. By directing your attention to the breath, you create a point of focus, a steady presence amid the fluctuations of thought. Observing the natural flow of your breath, the way it enters and leaves your body, grounds you in the here and now. This awareness is especially powerful in moments of overwhelm, as it redirects your attention from external triggers to an internal point of stability. One of the simplest and most effective techniques is deep, diaphragmatic breathing. This involves drawing the breath deep into the belly, expanding the diaphragm rather than just the chest. This method not only increases oxygen intake, but also stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation. By practicing diaphragmatic breathing regularly, you train your body to respond to stress with calm rather than tension. This technique can be used anywhere, whether in a crowded room or during a quiet moment of solitude, offering immediate relief from anxiety or agitation. Equal breathing, or samavriti, is another powerful practice. This technique involves making the inhale and exhale the same length, creating a balanced rhythm. For instance, you might breathe in for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 4. This evenness mirrors the stability you seek, calming the mind and body while fostering a sense of equilibrium. Equal breathing is particularly effective when you feel pulled in multiple directions, as it helps you find a center point from which to regain focus. In moments of heightened emotion, such as anger or fear, the breath can become erratic, mirroring the intensity of the feeling. Box breathing, a technique often used by athletes and military personnel, offers a structured way to regain control. It involves inhaling for a count, holding the breath for the same count, exhaling for the same count, and holding again before the next inhale. This technique not only slows the breath, but also interrupts the emotional escalation, giving you a chance to reset your response. Mindful breathing also invites you to explore the sensations associated with the breath. Feel the coolness of the air as it enters your nostrils, the warmth as it leaves. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your abdomen, the subtle pauses between each inhale and exhale. These sensations anchor you to the present moment, making it easier to let go of racing thoughts or persistent worries. By fully immersing yourself in the experience of breathing, you create a space of calm that remains untouched by external pressures. Another profound practice is alternate nostril breathing, or nadi shodhana. This technique involves closing one nostril while inhaling through the other, then switching nostrils for the exhale. This alternation balances the body's energy and calms the mind, making it an excellent practice for moments of indecision or mental fatigue. Alternate nostril breathing encourages a sense of harmony, aligning your inner state with the steadiness of your breath. Using the breath as an anchor also fosters resilience in the face of uncertainty. When life feels unpredictable, the breath remains constant, offering a reliable point of connection. By turning to the breath, you remind yourself that while you may not control external events, you can always choose how you respond. This empowerment reduces feelings of helplessness, grounding you in your ability to navigate challenges with clarity and composure. Breathing practices also deepen your connection to the body. Stress often manifests physically in tense shoulders, a clenched jaw, or a racing heart. By bringing awareness to your breath, you create an opportunity to notice and release these physical responses. For instance, as you exhale, you might consciously relax your shoulders or unclench your jaw, allowing the tension to dissipate. This process not only calms the mind, but also restores a sense of ease to the body. Integrating mindful breathing into daily life doesn't require setting aside large blocks of time. Even a few intentional breaths can create a significant shift. For example, taking 3 slow, deep breaths before starting a conversation or making a decision can help you approach the situation with greater awareness and calm. These micro-practices, when repeated throughout the day, build a foundation of mindfulness that supports you in both routine tasks and unexpected challenges. Breathing also serves as a bridge between moments, helping you transition with intention, whether moving from work to rest, from activity to stillness, or from tension to relaxation. The breath guides you through these shifts. By pausing to breathe deeply during transitions, you carry less mental clutter into the next moment, allowing you to engage with greater focus and presence. Mindful breathing is a deeply personal practice, adaptable to your needs and preferences. Some may find comfort in counting breaths, while others prefer visualizing the breath as a wave or a stream. The key is to explore and discover what resonates with you, creating a practice that feels natural and supportive. Over time, this exploration fosters a deeper relationship with your breath, transforming it from a background process to a trusted ally. The breath also connects you to a broader sense of life. Each inhale nourishes your body. Each exhale releases what is no longer needed. This cycle mirrors the rhythm of existence, taking in and letting go, receiving and releasing. By aligning with this rhythm, you cultivate a sense of flow, where you move through life with ease rather than resistance. The breath becomes a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things, grounding you in the awareness that you are both an individual and part of a larger whole. Ultimately, the practice of using the breath as an anchor is about returning to yourself. It's a way to reclaim your power, calm your mind, and reconnect with the present moment, no matter what life throws your way. Through mindful breathing, you discover a source of strength and stability that is always within reach, guiding you toward a life of greater peace and presence. The breath anchors us to the present, offering a gateway to inner calm and clarity. Yet, life extends beyond the moments we control. Our actions, choices, and intentions ripple outward, shaping the world we inhabit. This interconnectedness is beautifully encapsulated in the principle of karma, a reminder that our lives are intricately woven into the fabric of cause and effect. Far from being a force of punishment or reward, karma invites us to embrace accountability with grace and courage, transforming the way we navigate both challenges and triumphs. Karma begins with understanding that every action, no matter how small, carries consequences. These outcomes may not always be immediate or visible, but they leave an imprint, influencing the trajectory of our lives. Viewing life through the lens of karma encourages mindfulness in our choices. It's not about fearing the consequences, but recognizing the power we hold to shape our experiences through intention and action. This awareness fosters a sense of responsibility, grounding us in the knowledge that we are both creators and participants in the flow of life. Accountability is at the heart of karma. It challenges us to own our actions without deflecting blame or shirking responsibility. This can be uncomfortable, especially when facing the consequences of past choices. Yet, accountability is not about self-condemnation. It is a path to empowerment. By acknowledging our role in creating certain outcomes, we gain the clarity needed to make different, more aligned choices moving forward. This process transforms regret into growth, freeing us from the cycle of avoidance and denial. Karma also teaches the importance of intention. While the results of our actions may not always align with our desires, the energy behind them carries profound significance. Acting with kindness, honesty, and integrity creates a ripple effect, even if the immediate outcome is not as expected. Similarly, actions rooted in selfishness or harm, even if successful in the short term, often lead to long-term discord. By aligning our intentions with values that promote harmony, we contribute positively to both our lives and the lives of others. Fear often distorts our understanding of karma, reducing it to a system of retribution. This perspective can lead to anxiety about making mistakes or facing challenges. However, karma is not a punitive force, but a natural law of balance. It reflects the interconnected nature of existence, where actions and consequences are linked by the threads of cause and effect. Embracing karma means accepting this balance with trust, understanding the difficulties are not punishments, but opportunities for learning and growth. Viewing life through the lens of karma also deepens our compassion for others. Recognizing that everyone is navigating the consequences of their actions helps us approach situations with empathy rather than judgment. When someone acts out of anger or fear, it often reflects their struggles and experiences, not their inherent nature. This awareness encourages forgiveness, both for others and ourselves, reducing the emotional weight of resentment and blame. Karma invites us to cultivate patience. The outcomes of our actions may not unfold immediately, and this delay can test our resolve. Whether planting seeds of kindness or pursuing long-term goals, the results often require time and persistence. Trusting the process of karma helps us remain committed to our values, even when the fruits of our efforts are not yet visible. This patience fosters resilience, enabling us to stay aligned with our purpose despite external uncertainties. The principle of karma also illuminates the power of choice. While we cannot control every circumstance, we can choose how we respond. Each response creates new ripples, shaping future experiences. This perspective shifts our focus from what happens to us to how we engage with life. By taking responsibility for our choices, we reclaim our agency, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. One of karma's most profound lessons is the interconnectedness of all life. Our actions do not exist in isolation, but influence the people, environments, and systems around us. This interconnectedness reminds us that our choices matter, not just for ourselves, but for the collective whole. Acts of kindness, generosity, and care ripple outward, touching lives we may never know. Similarly, harmful actions extend beyond their immediate targets, creating waves of discord. This understanding deepens our commitment to living with intention and compassion. Karma also challenges the illusion of control. While our actions shape outcomes, we cannot predict or dictate every result. This unpredictability teaches humility, reminding us that life is a dance of effort and surrender. By focusing on what we can control, our intentions, attitudes, and choices, we navigate uncertainty with grace. This balance between action and acceptance reduces anxiety, allowing us to engage fully without becoming attached to specific results. Practicing karma in daily life begins with mindfulness. Paying attention to our thoughts, words, and actions helps us align them with our values. Small, intentional choices, offering a kind word, refraining from gossip, or supporting someone in need, accumulate over time, creating a life rooted in harmony and purpose. These practices also build self-awareness, helping us notice when we stray from our intentions and gently guiding us back to alignment. Gratitude plays a vital role in embracing karma. By appreciating the positive outcomes of past actions, we reinforce the value of living with intention. Gratitude also helps us find meaning in challenges, viewing them as opportunities to grow rather than as setbacks. This perspective fosters a sense of balance, where we approach life's highs and lows with equanimity, trusting the wisdom of karma to guide us forward. Karma also encourages us to release attachment to results. This detachment is not about indifference, but about trusting the process. When we act with integrity and kindness, the outcome becomes secondary to the act itself. This shift reduces stress and fosters a sense of freedom, allowing us to engage with life wholeheartedly without being weighed down by expectations or disappointments. Forgiveness is another powerful aspect of karma. Holding on to anger or resentment perpetuates cycles of negativity, both within ourselves and in our relationships. By forgiving others and seeking forgiveness when needed, we break these cycles, creating space for healing and renewal. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but transforms its influence, allowing us to move forward with clarity and peace. Through karma, we learn to see challenges as teachers. Every difficulty carries a lesson, whether it's about patience, resilience, or the importance of staying true to our values. By approaching challenges with curiosity rather than resistance, we uncover their hidden gifts, turning obstacles into stepping stones. This perspective not only reduces suffering, but also deepens our understanding of ourselves and the world. Ultimately, karma invites us to live with integrity, mindfulness, and compassion. It is not about perfection, but about progress, a journey of continuous growth and alignment. By embracing accountability without fear, we cultivate a life of harmony and purpose, where each action contributes to the greater good. Through the lens of karma, we discover that every choice matters, and within each choice lies the power to create a brighter, more connected world. The teachings of karma guide us to live with mindfulness and accountability, recognizing the ripple effects of our actions. But even as we align ourselves with these principles, life does not always unfold as planned. Unforeseen challenges arise, disappointments surface, and control slips through our hands. In these moments, the ability to accept reality becomes essential. Yet acceptance is not the same as giving up. It is a balance between embracing what is and staying engaged with what can be. This delicate interplay between surrender and persistence offers a path to profound inner calm. Acceptance begins with acknowledging reality without resistance. Resistance often arises from the gap between our expectations and the present moment. We cling to how we believe things should be, fighting against what is, creating frustration and emotional turmoil. Acceptance does not mean condoning unfavorable circumstances or settling for less. It means releasing the struggle against the unchangeable. By doing so, we free up energy to focus on what we can influence, transforming helplessness into empowerment. At the heart of acceptance is the recognition that life is inherently dynamic. Change is constant, and clinging to fixed ideas or outcomes leads to suffering. When we accept the fluid nature of life, we develop the flexibility to adapt. This adaptability allows us to move with life's currents rather than being dragged by them. It is not about passivity, but about responding to change with wisdom and composure, finding opportunities for growth even in challenging times. One of the most significant misconceptions about acceptance is that it equates to resignation. Resignation suggests giving up, withdrawing effort, or ceasing to care. True acceptance, however, is active and engaged. It involves acknowledging the present moment fully while remaining open to possibilities. This balance allows us to honor our emotions, such as grief or disappointment, without being consumed by them. Acceptance becomes a bridge between acknowledging what is and pursuing what could be. Practicing acceptance requires self-awareness. Often, resistance is rooted in fear of loss, uncertainty, or failure. By identifying these fears, we can address them with clarity rather than allowing them to fuel resistance. For example, if a career setback triggers feelings of inadequacy, acceptance involves recognizing these emotions without letting them define us. From this place of self-awareness, we can take constructive steps forward, grounded in reality rather than fear. Gratitude plays a pivotal role in fostering acceptance. When faced with difficulties, it is easy to focus solely on what is wrong or missing. Gratitude shifts this perspective, highlighting what remains valuable and supportive in our lives. This shift does not erase challenges, but balances them with appreciation, making them easier to navigate. Gratitude also deepens our connection to the present, reminding us that even amid difficulties, there is much to cherish. Acceptance is particularly transformative in relationships. Interpersonal conflicts often arise from unmet expectations or the desire to change others. By accepting people as they are, we create space for understanding and connection. This does not mean tolerating harmful behavior, but recognizing that everyone operates from their unique experiences and perspectives. Acceptance fosters compassion, allowing us to engage with others authentically without the burden of unrealistic demands. In moments of crisis, acceptance becomes a source of resilience. When faced with loss, illness, or unforeseen hardship, resistance often amplifies suffering. Acceptance allows us to process these experiences with grace, focusing on what can be learned or transformed rather than what has been lost. This perspective does not diminish the pain, but integrates it into a broader understanding of life's complexity. It turns challenges into opportunities for growth and insight. Acceptance also transforms how we approach goals and aspirations. While ambition drives us to strive, an over-attachment to outcomes can create stress and dissatisfaction. Acceptance balances ambition with contentment, allowing us to pursue goals with effort and passion while remaining unattached to specific results. This approach reduces anxiety and fosters resilience, as setbacks become part of the journey rather than insurmountable barriers. Mindfulness is a cornerstone of acceptance. By staying present, we can observe our thoughts, emotions, and reactions without judgment. This awareness helps us notice when resistance arises and gently redirect our focus toward acceptance. For instance, if a plan falls apart, mindfulness allows us to acknowledge disappointment without spiraling into frustration. It reminds us that the present moment, no matter how imperfect, is still worthy of our attention and care. Letting go is an integral part of acceptance. Holding on to the past, whether regrets, grudges, or missed opportunities, anchors us in resistance. Letting go does not mean forgetting or dismissing. It means releasing the emotional weight that these attachments carry. By freeing ourselves from the grip of the past, we create space for new experiences and perspectives, fostering a sense of lightness and possibility. Acceptance is also about embracing imperfection, both in ourselves and in the world. The pursuit of perfection often leads to dissatisfaction, as reality rarely aligns with idealized expectations. Acceptance invites us to appreciate the beauty of imperfection, recognizing that flaws and challenges are part of what makes life meaningful. This perspective reduces self-criticism and fosters a sense of ease, allowing us to engage with life more authentically. In times of uncertainty, acceptance provides a steady foundation. When the future feels unclear or uncontrollable, resistance often manifests as anxiety or overthinking. Acceptance helps us navigate these moments with patience and trust, focusing on what we can do rather than what we cannot predict. This approach fosters a sense of stability, even in the midst of change. Acceptance also deepens our connection to others. When we accept ourselves fully, including our imperfections and vulnerabilities, we become more open to genuine relationships. This authenticity creates trust and understanding, reducing the need for masks or defenses. Acceptance becomes a shared space where connection thrives, grounded in mutual respect and empathy. Ultimately, acceptance without resignation is about embracing life as it is while staying engaged with its possibilities. It is not about surrendering our power, but about using it wisely, focusing on what truly matters. By transforming resistance into inner calm, we cultivate a sense of peace that is both steady and dynamic, guiding us through life's complexities with grace and resilience. Through acceptance, we discover that even in the face of challenges, there is a path to fulfillment and growth. Acceptance without resignation teaches us to find peace within the reality of life while remaining engaged with its possibilities. Yet, even as we embrace this harmony, another layer of clarity emerges: the power of simplicity. When life feels overwhelming, it's often not the circumstances themselves, but the clutter of unnecessary thoughts, actions, and possessions that weigh us down. Simplifying these elements is not about deprivation, but about refinement, focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what does not. This practice, rooted in strength and purpose, creates space for inner peace and allows us to live with greater intention. Simplicity begins with the mind. The constant chatter of thoughts, analyzing, worrying, comparing, often consumes more energy than the actual challenges we face. By simplifying our mental patterns, we free ourselves from this drain. This process starts with awareness. When we pause to observe our thoughts, we often notice that many of them are repetitive, unproductive, or rooted in fears that never materialize. Gently redirecting these thoughts toward the present moment creates clarity and calm, reducing mental clutter. Focusing on one task or intention at a time is another way to simplify the mind. Multitasking, though often praised as efficient, scatters attention and creates stress. By concentrating fully on a single activity, we not only perform it with greater care, but also experience a sense of flow. This practice transforms routine tasks into moments of mindfulness, grounding us in the present and freeing us from the chaos of divided attention. Simplicity also extends to our actions. In a world that often glorifies busyness, it's easy to equate productivity with worth. This mindset leads to overcommitment, leaving little room for rest or reflection. Simplifying our schedules involves identifying what truly aligns with our values and letting go of the rest. This doesn't mean neglecting responsibilities, but prioritizing with intention, ensuring that our efforts contribute to a sense of purpose rather than exhaustion. Decluttering physical spaces is another powerful step towards simplicity. Our surroundings often reflect and influence our inner state. A space filled with unnecessary possessions can create feelings of overwhelm, while a clean and intentional environment fosters calm. Simplifying possessions is not about minimalism for its own sake, but about creating a space that supports your well-being. Letting go of items that no longer serve a purpose, bring joy, or align with your values opens up physical and mental space for what truly matters. Simplicity in relationships is equally transformative. Many of us carry the weight of unhealthy connections, relationships marked by obligation, resentment, or lack of reciprocity. Simplifying these dynamics involves setting boundaries, prioritizing meaningful connections, and releasing those that drain our energy. This process doesn't mean abandoning others, but approaching relationships with honesty and care, ensuring they are rooted in mutual respect and authenticity. A simplified life is also one that aligns with nature's rhythms. The fast pace of modern life often disconnects us from these natural cycles, leading to stress and imbalance. By slowing down and attuning ourselves to the simplicity of nature, its seasons, its stillness, its abundance, we find inspiration and grounding. This connection reminds us of life's inherent simplicity, where everything unfolds with purpose and grace. Simplicity does not mean avoiding complexity, but navigating it with clarity. Life's challenges often require intricate solutions, but a simplified mindset allows us to approach them without unnecessary complication. Instead of reacting impulsively or overthinking, we respond with focus and intention, addressing what needs attention while letting go of distractions. This approach fosters resilience as we conserve energy for what truly matters. Practicing gratitude is a cornerstone of simplicity. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we naturally let go of excess. Gratitude shifts our perspective, helping us appreciate the richness of simplicity. A warm meal, a quiet moment, a meaningful conversation. This appreciation reduces the constant desire for more, replacing it with contentment and peace. Simplicity also invites us to examine our habits. Many of the routines we follow are rooted in convenience or habit rather than intention. Simplifying these habits involves questioning whether they serve our well-being or distract from it. For instance, reducing mindless scrolling on devices or simplifying meal planning can create time and space for more meaningful activities. This process is not about rigid discipline, but about aligning our habits with our values. Incorporating simplicity into spiritual practices deepens its impact. Meditation, for example, is an act of simplifying the mind, letting go of distractions and focusing on the breath or a point of awareness. This practice cultivates a sense of inner stillness, allowing us to connect with the essence of who we are, beyond the noise of daily life. Similarly, acts of service or kindness, stripped of ego or expectation, reflect the simplicity of giving and receiving with an open heart. Simplicity also reshapes our relationship with time. The constant rush to achieve or acquire often leaves us feeling that there is never enough time. Simplifying our perspective on time involves recognizing it as a finite yet abundant resource, one that can be spent intentionally. By focusing on quality over quantity, whether in work, leisure, or relationships, we create a sense of fulfillment that transcends the ticking clock. Letting go is at the heart of simplicity, whether it's physical possessions, outdated beliefs, or emotional baggage. Releasing what no longer serves us creates freedom. This process can be challenging, as attachments often carry memories or comfort. Yet, by letting go, we honor the past while making room for the present. This act of release fosters a sense of lightness, where life becomes less about holding on and more about embracing what is. Simplicity also nurtures creativity. When the mind is cluttered with distractions or the environment is filled with excess, creativity often feels stifled. Simplifying these spaces creates room for inspiration, allowing ideas to flow naturally. This is not just about artistic creativity, but about problem-solving, innovation, and the ability to see possibilities in everyday life. Ultimately, simplicity is an act of returning to what is essential. It is not about deprivation, but about abundance. The abundance of clarity, purpose, and peace that comes from focusing on what truly matters. By simplifying our thoughts, actions, and surroundings, we create a foundation for a life that is both grounded and expansive. This practice, rooted in strength and intention, transforms how we engage with the world, offering a path to unshakable peace and fulfillment. Simplifying life allows us to strip away what is unnecessary, bringing clarity and a deep sense of peace. Yet, even as we declutter our minds, actions and environments, a subtler layer of attachment often lingers. The fixed ideas and beliefs we hold about ourselves, others, and the world. These constructs shape how we perceive and react, often binding us to expectations that create unnecessary suffering. The emptiness doctrine offers a profound path to liberation by challenging us to release these rigid views, enabling us to navigate life with freedom, adaptability, and authenticity. At its core, the concept of emptiness is not about negation or void, but about possibility and openness. It reveals that things, people, and situations do not inherently possess fixed meanings or attributes. Instead, meaning arises from context, perspective, and interdependence. Recognizing this fluidity allows us to step back from the labels and assumptions that often narrow our understanding. By letting go of rigid beliefs, we open ourselves to seeing life as it truly is, dynamic, interconnected, and full of potential. The emptiness doctrine begins with questioning the stories we tell ourselves. These narratives often stem from past experiences or cultural conditioning, creating a framework through which we interpret the present. While these stories can provide comfort or identity, they also limit our growth. For instance, believing "I am not good at relationships" or "success means achieving X" locks us into patterns of thought that shape our actions and expectations. Embracing emptiness involves recognizing these stories as constructs rather than truths, allowing us to rewrite them or let them go entirely. Letting go of fixed ideas also transforms our relationships. Often, we view others through the lens of expectation, projecting qualities or roles onto them that may not align with their reality. This creates tension and disappointment when people fail to meet our preconceived notions. The emptiness doctrine encourages us to approach others with curiosity and openness, free from the constraints of judgment or assumption. This perspective fosters deeper understanding and connection, as it allows relationships to evolve naturally rather than conforming to static ideals. The concept of emptiness extends to how we perceive challenges and obstacles. When we label a situation as bad or unfair, we often react with resistance or despair, amplifying our suffering. Emptiness invites us to see challenges not as fixed adversities, but as neutral events shaped by our interpretation. This shift enables us to respond with creativity and resilience, transforming difficulties into opportunities for growth and insight. Embracing emptiness also frees us from the grip of rigid expectations. Expectations often arise from a desire for control, rooted in the belief that life should unfold a certain way. When reality diverges from these expectations, frustration and disappointment ensue. By releasing the need for life to conform to a fixed plan, we create space for spontaneity and acceptance. This doesn't mean abandoning goals or ambitions, but approaching them with flexibility, adapting to the flow of life rather than resisting it. One of the most profound aspects of the emptiness doctrine is its impact on self-identity. The ego often constructs a fixed sense of self based on roles, achievements, or attributes, clinging to these as markers of worth. This rigidity can lead to anxiety as we strive to maintain or defend this identity against change. Recognizing the emptiness of self dissolves this attachment, revealing that who we are is not confined to labels or roles. This awareness fosters a sense of freedom as we embrace the fluidity of identity and the possibilities it brings. The practice of emptiness also enhances mindfulness. When we approach the present moment without preconceptions, we experience it more fully, free from the filters of past judgments or future worries. This openness allows us to engage with life as it is, appreciating its nuances and subtleties. Whether observing a sunset, engaging in conversation, or facing a challenge, the lens of emptiness brings clarity and depth to our experiences. Letting go of fixed ideas does not mean abandoning discernment or values. It means recognizing that our understanding is always incomplete, shaped by context and perspective. This humility allows us to hold our beliefs lightly, open to revising them as new insights emerge. This flexibility is particularly valuable in a rapidly changing world, where adaptability and openness are essential for navigating complexity. The emptiness doctrine also challenges the notion of possession. Whether it's material belongings, relationships, or achievements, attachment to ownership often creates anxiety and fear of loss. Emptiness reveals that nothing is truly ours in a permanent sense. Everything exists in a state of flux. By releasing this attachment, we cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for what we have, free from the fear of losing it. This perspective fosters contentment and reduces the need for constant accumulation or validation. Practicing emptiness involves cultivating awareness of interdependence. Nothing exists in isolation. Every action, thought, and event is influenced by countless factors. This interconnectedness reminds us of our place within the larger web of life, dissolving the illusion of separateness. This awareness fosters compassion as we recognize that our well-being is intertwined with that of others and the world around us. Another profound aspect of emptiness is its ability to dissolve fear. Much of our fear arises from clinging to fixed ideas about safety, success, or identity. When these constructs are threatened, fear intensifies. By embracing emptiness, we release the need for certainty, trusting in the fluidity and resilience of life. This trust reduces fear, allowing us to face uncertainty with courage and grace. The emptiness doctrine also deepens our relationship with time. Fixed ideas often anchor us to the past or propel us into the future, creating regret or anxiety. Emptiness frees us from these anchors, grounding us in the present moment. This perspective allows us to engage with time more intentionally, appreciating its fleeting nature while letting go of the need to control it. Ultimately, the emptiness doctrine is not about detachment from life, but about engaging with it more fully. By releasing fixed ideas and embracing the fluidity of existence, we discover a freedom that transcends circumstance. This freedom is not about escaping challenges, but about meeting them with openness, curiosity, and strength. Through the lens of emptiness, life becomes a canvas of infinite possibilities, where each moment offers the opportunity to grow, connect, and create anew. Releasing rigid ideas and embracing emptiness brings a profound sense of freedom, allowing us to navigate life's complexities with clarity and openness. Yet, this openness is not a void. It's an invitation to fill the space with something meaningful. Compassion, cultivated intentionally, becomes the bridge that connects emptiness to a deeper sense of purpose and resilience. Loving kindness meditation offers a transformative practice to anchor this compassion, helping to nurture calm and an open heart in a world often marked by division and difficulty. Loving kindness meditation begins with the simple yet profound act of directing goodwill toward yourself. Often, the inner dialogue we carry is harsher than anything we would say to others. By consciously sending kindness and forgiveness inward, you begin to dissolve the barriers of self-criticism and doubt. Repeating affirmations like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease," you remind yourself of the worth that lies beyond achievements or failures. This self-compassion is the foundation for extending loving kindness to others. The practice of loving kindness meditation is not limited to self-love. It expands outward, encompassing those close to you, acquaintances, strangers, and even those you find challenging. This progression mirrors the interconnection of all beings, breaking down the illusion of separateness. When you send goodwill to someone you care for, the warmth of that bond reinforces your own sense of connection. Extending the same intention to a stranger reminds you of the shared humanity that binds us all. Sending compassion to someone who has caused you pain becomes a powerful act of release, freeing you from the grip of resentment. Loving kindness. Meditation rewires the mind for empathy. In a world that often prioritizes competition and self-preservation, this practice softens the tendency toward judgment or indifference. Instead of seeing others as obstacles or adversaries, you begin to view them through the lens of shared struggles and joys. This perspective reduces conflict and fosters a sense of unity, making it easier to navigate relationships with understanding and grace. Compassion, cultivated through loving kindness meditation, also strengthens resilience. Life's challenges often test our emotional endurance, and the natural response to stress is contraction of thoughts, emotions, and even the body. Loving kindness meditation counteracts this by fostering expansion. As you cultivate goodwill, you create space for emotions to flow without being overwhelming. This practice shifts your focus from the weight of a challenge to the broader context of connection and care, providing a sense of balance even in difficult times. Another profound benefit of loving kindness meditation is its ability to dissolve fear. Fear often arises from perceived threats to our well-being, whether physical, emotional, or social. By directing compassion toward yourself and others, you shift the narrative from one of defensiveness to one of openness. Fear thrives on isolation, but compassion reminds you that you are part of something larger, reducing its hold. This practice also transforms how you approach conflict. When emotions flare, the instinct is often to protect or retaliate. Loving kindness meditation trains you to pause, grounding your response in empathy rather than reactivity. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but approaching it with the intention of understanding and resolution. Compassion becomes a shield, not of avoidance, but of strength, allowing you to navigate conflicts with clarity and purpose. The ripple effects of loving kindness meditation extend beyond individual interactions. As your capacity for compassion grows, it influences the energy you bring to the spaces you inhabit. Whether in your workplace, community, or home, the practice fosters a culture of kindness. Your actions and presence inspire others to respond with the same warmth, creating an environment where collaboration and understanding thrive. Incorporating loving kindness meditation into daily life does not require extended periods of solitude. Even a few moments of intention can create profound shifts. While waiting in line, you might silently wish well for those around you. During a walk, you can direct kindness toward the people, animals, or nature you encounter. These small acts of compassion, practiced consistently, accumulate, creating a foundation of goodwill that supports you throughout the day. The practice also invites you to confront the limits of compassion and stretch them gently. There may be people or situations that initially feel resistant to your goodwill. This resistance is natural, reflecting the emotional layers we carry. Loving kindness meditation encourages you to acknowledge these feelings without judgment, gradually working toward inclusion. Over time, this process transforms the edges of your compassion into new possibilities for connection and healing. Loving kindness meditation is not a passive practice, it is deeply active. By choosing to cultivate compassion, you take a stand against indifference and negativity. It is a way of aligning your actions with your values, ensuring that your interactions leave a positive imprint. This alignment fosters a sense of integrity and fulfillment, as your external actions reflect your internal intentions. The physiological benefits of loving kindness meditation also support emotional resilience. Studies have shown that this practice reduces stress and increases feelings of well-being. As you engage in the meditation, your body responds by lowering cortisol levels and enhancing the production of oxytocin, often referred to as the love hormone. This physical shift reinforces the emotional and mental calm cultivated through the practice, creating a holistic sense of balance. Compassion through loving kindness meditation also deepens self-awareness. As you extend goodwill to yourself and others, you become more attuned to the subtleties of your emotions and thoughts. This awareness helps you identify patterns that may hinder your growth, such as tendencies towards self-judgment or resentment. By acknowledging these patterns with compassion, you create the space to transform them, fostering greater emotional freedom. One of the most transformative aspects of loving kindness meditation is its ability to build trust, both in yourself and in life. Trust in yourself arises as you see the impact of your intentions, reinforcing your belief in your capacity for kindness and resilience. Trust in life grows as you recognize the interconnectedness of all beings, understanding that even small acts of compassion contribute to a larger web of goodwill. Ultimately, loving kindness meditation is a practice of empowerment. It reminds you that while you cannot control the actions of others or the circumstances of life, you can choose how you engage with them. By anchoring yourself in compassion, you navigate life's uncertainties with a sense of purpose and calm. This strength, rooted in kindness, becomes a guiding force, helping you remain open-hearted and resilient no matter what unfolds. Through loving kindness meditation, you discover that the path to peace is not found in isolation, but in connection, where the simple act of wishing well becomes a transformative force for yourself and the world around you. Compassion, cultivated through loving kindness, teaches us that even the most challenging emotions can be met with grace and understanding. Yet, life often brings pain that feels overwhelming, moments when suffering seems to eclipse all else. It is in these times that the greatest opportunities for growth emerge. Suffering, though painful, holds a profound potential for transformation. When approached with awareness and purpose, it becomes a teacher, offering lessons that deepen wisdom and fortify the spirit. The Buddhist approach to turning suffering into wisdom is not about erasing pain, but about embracing it as a catalyst for inner strength and clarity. Suffering often arises when life diverges from our expectations. We resist the reality of loss, failure, or change, clinging to how we believe things should be. This resistance amplifies pain, turning it into suffering. The first step in transforming suffering is acceptance, not passive resignation, but an active acknowledgement of what is. Acceptance allows us to face the truth of our experience without denial or distraction, creating the foundation for meaningful growth. Through this practice, we learn that acknowledging pain is not a weakness, but a profound act of courage. Pain, while uncomfortable, is a messenger. It signals areas of life that require attention, healing, or change. By listening to these signals, we uncover the deeper layers of our experiences. For example, the pain of rejection might reveal unmet needs for connection or self-worth. Instead of suppressing or avoiding this discomfort, the Buddhist approach encourages us to sit with it, observing its origins and impact without judgment. This process transforms pain into insight, revealing the underlying patterns that shape our responses to life. One of the most powerful tools for turning suffering into wisdom is mindfulness. By staying present with our pain, we cultivate a sense of clarity that prevents us from being consumed by it. Mindfulness invites us to observe suffering as it unfolds, noticing its impermanence. This awareness creates space between our experiences and our reactions, allowing us to respond with intention rather than reflex. Over time, mindfulness becomes a source of resilience, helping us navigate challenges with grace and composure. Suffering also provides an opportunity to cultivate compassion for ourselves and others. When we experience pain, we gain a deeper understanding of the struggles faced by those around us. This empathy fosters connection, breaking down the barriers of isolation that suffering often creates. By extending compassion to ourselves, we soften the harshness of self-judgment, creating a supportive inner environment where growth can flourish. Compassion becomes both a balm for our wounds and a bridge to understanding the shared humanity of suffering. The Buddhist approach also emphasizes the role of impermanence in transforming suffering. Pain, like all experiences, is transient. Recognizing this truth helps us navigate difficulties with patience and trust. While suffering may feel all-encompassing in the moment, the awareness of its impermanence reminds us that it, too, will pass. This perspective not only provides comfort, but also encourages us to engage with pain constructively, knowing that it holds the potential for transformation. Gratitude plays a significant role in this process. While it may seem counterintuitive to express gratitude in the face of suffering, this practice shifts our focus from what is lacking to what remains. Gratitude does not deny pain, but balances it, reminding us of the strength and resources that support us through challenges. By acknowledging the lessons embedded in our struggles, we reframe suffering as a catalyst for growth rather than an obstacle to overcome. Another key aspect of turning suffering into wisdom is letting go of attachment. Much of our pain stems from clinging to people, outcomes, or identities that no longer serve us. The Buddhist approach invites us to release these attachments, not by force, but through understanding. Letting go creates space for new perspectives and possibilities, transforming loss into renewal. This process is not about forgetting, but about integrating our experiences in a way that fosters freedom and growth. Suffering also challenges us to redefine our understanding of strength. In a culture that often equates strength with stoicism or invulnerability, the Buddhist perspective offers a different view. True strength lies in vulnerability, in the willingness to face pain with openness and curiosity. By embracing our struggles, we discover a resilience that is rooted not in resistance, but in adaptability. This strength allows us to move through life with greater authenticity and grace. The practice of self-inquiry is instrumental in this transformation. By asking questions like, "What is this pain teaching me?" or How can I grow from this experience? We shift our focus from victimhood to empowerment. Self-inquiry encourages us to explore the deeper meaning of our suffering, uncovering insights that guide us toward greater self-awareness and purpose. This process turns challenges into stepping stones, paving the way for personal and spiritual growth. Community plays an essential role in this journey. Sharing our struggles with others creates a sense of solidarity, reminding us that we are not alone in our pain. The act of vulnerability fosters connection, breaking the isolation that suffering often brings. Within a supportive community, we find encouragement and perspective, as well as the opportunity to offer the same to others. This mutual support transforms suffering into a shared journey of growth. The Buddhist approach also highlights the importance of patience. Growth does not happen overnight. It is a gradual process that requires time and care. By cultivating patience, we honor the pace of our transformation, allowing each step to unfold naturally. This patience is not passive but active, involving consistent effort and trust in the process. Through this practice, we learn to embrace the journey, finding meaning in the small, incremental shifts that lead to profound change. Suffering, when embraced with awareness, also deepens our connection to life's impermanence. It reminds us of the fleeting nature of all experiences, prompting us to cherish the present moment. This awareness fosters a sense of gratitude for life's beauty and fragility, even amid challenges. By grounding ourselves in the present, we reduce the weight of regret or anticipation, finding peace in the here and now. Ultimately, turning suffering into wisdom is about transformation. It is not about erasing pain, but about allowing it to shape us in ways that deepen our understanding and fortify our spirit. Through mindfulness, compassion, and self-inquiry, we uncover the lessons embedded in our struggles, transforming them into sources of strength and clarity. The Buddhist approach teaches us that even in the midst of hardship, there is an opportunity to grow, to connect, and to discover the profound resilience that lies within. Through this practice, suffering becomes not an end, but a beginning, a path to wisdom, strength, and a deeper appreciation of life's intricate beauty. Turning suffering into wisdom reveals the profound lessons hidden within life's challenges, teaching us resilience and insight. Yet, even as we navigate these lessons, the ability to look inward becomes essential. Self-reflection is the mirror through which we understand our actions, thoughts, and emotions, offering the clarity needed for personal growth. However, reflection often carries a hidden danger: self-criticism. When introspection turns harsh, it fosters guilt and shame instead of learning and growth. Mastering the art of self-reflection without self-criticism allows us to embrace our humanity with kindness, turning inward with curiosity rather than judgment. Self-reflection begins with awareness. It is the conscious act of observing oneself, not to find fault, but to gain understanding. This requires stepping back from the noise of daily life and creating a space for honest examination. By asking questions like, "What was my intention?" or "How did this experience affect me and others?" we start to uncover patterns and motivations. Awareness lays the foundation for change, as we cannot address what we do not see. A key to gentle self-reflection is cultivating a mindset of curiosity. Instead of labeling actions as good or bad, we approach them as opportunities to learn. For instance, when reflecting on a mistake, curiosity asks, "What led me to this choice?" Or, "What can I do differently next time?" This shift moves the focus from blame to growth, transforming setbacks into valuable lessons. Curiosity opens the door to exploration, helping us see complexities rather than resorting to simplistic self-judgment. Compassion is the heart of self-reflection without criticism. It reminds us that we are human, inherently imperfect, and that mistakes are part of growth, treating ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a friend. Allow us to hold space for both our strengths and flaws. Compassion doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but provides the support needed to address it constructively. It creates a safe environment for introspection, where honesty flourishes without fear of harsh repercussions. The practice of separating actions from identity is another vital aspect of self-reflection. Often we conflate what we do with who we are, leading to feelings of unworthiness when mistakes occur. Recognizing that actions are transient and do not define us helps maintain a balanced perspective. For example, instead of saying, "I am a failure," we acknowledge, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it." This separation fosters accountability without self-blame, encouraging growth while preserving self-worth. Mindfulness enhances self-reflection by anchoring us in the present moment. It allows us to observe thoughts and emotions without becoming entangled in them. When reflecting on past actions, mindfulness helps us avoid spiraling into regret or guilt, focusing instead on the insights available now. Similarly, when considering future intentions, mindfulness keeps us grounded, preventing anxiety about outcomes. This balanced awareness makes reflection a tool for clarity rather than a source of distress. Setting intentions for self-reflection creates structure and focus. Instead of diving into introspection aimlessly, we approach it with purpose, identifying specific areas we want to explore. For example, reflecting on communication in relationships or responses to stress provides a clear direction, making the process more effective. Intentions also remind us of the goal of self-reflection, growth, not perfection. This focus prevents us from falling into the trap of over-analyzing or fixating on flaws. Journaling is a practical tool for self-reflection, offering a tangible way to process thoughts and emotions. Writing allows us to externalize our inner experiences, gaining perspective and clarity. By revisiting journal entries over time, we can track patterns and progress, celebrating growth while identifying areas for further exploration. Journaling also creates a private space for expression, free from the judgment of others, where we can be completely honest with ourselves. A significant part of self-reflection involves embracing vulnerability. It requires courage to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves, but this vulnerability is also a source of strength. By acknowledging our fears, insecurities, and mistakes, we strip them of their power to control us. Vulnerability fosters authenticity, allowing us to engage with ourselves and others more deeply. This openness transforms self-reflection into a practice of liberation, where we are no longer bound by denial or pretense. Gratitude complements self-reflection by highlighting what is going well in our lives. While introspection often focuses on challenges, gratitude shifts our attention to strengths and successes. This balance prevents self-reflection from becoming overly critical, reminding us of the progress we have made. Gratitude also nurtures a positive mindset, reinforcing the belief that growth is possible and worthwhile. Boundaries are essential for healthy self-reflection. Introspection, when overdone, can become rumination, a cycle of overthinking that amplifies negativity. Setting limits on reflective practices, such as allocating specific times or durations, ensures that they remain constructive. Boundaries also help us balance self-reflection with action. encouraging us to apply insights rather than getting stuck in analysis. Seeking feedback from trusted individuals enhances self-reflection by providing external perspectives. Others often see aspects of us that we might overlook, offering valuable insights into our behavior and impact. However, it's important to approach feedback with discernment, considering the source and context. Feedback should complement self-reflection, not replace it, serving as an additional lens through which we view ourselves. Self-reflection without criticism also requires patience. Growth is a gradual process, and expecting immediate transformation can lead to frustration. Patience reminds us that each step, no matter how small, contributes to progress. By celebrating incremental changes, we sustain motivation and cultivate a sense of self-compassion. Patience also helps us navigate setbacks with resilience, viewing them as part of the journey rather than failures. Connecting self-reflection to broader values and goals gives it meaning and direction. Reflecting on how our actions align with our principles or aspirations deepens our understanding of ourselves. For instance, if kindness is a core value, self-reflection might explore how well we embody it in daily interactions. This alignment between reflection and values makes the process purposeful, inspiring continued growth. The practice of self-reflection also enhances emotional intelligence. By examining our reactions to situations, we gain insight into our emotional triggers and patterns. This awareness allows us to respond more skillfully, managing emotions rather than being controlled by them. Emotional intelligence fosters better relationships and decision-making, creating a ripple effect of positive change in our lives. Ultimately, self-reflection without self-criticism is a practice of self-love. It is about honoring our humanity, embracing our imperfections, and committing to growth with kindness and intention. By approaching ourselves with curiosity and compassion, we turn inward not to judge, but to understand. This gentle path to self-mastery transforms self-reflection into a source of empowerment, where each insight becomes a step toward greater clarity, authenticity, and fulfillment. Self-reflection without criticism allows us to explore our inner world with kindness, discovering areas for growth while honoring our humanity. However, as we delve into this journey, we often uncover attachments that no longer serve us, relationships, habits, or expectations that drain our energy and limit our freedom. These attachments, when rooted in clinging, tether us to suffering and prevent us from living fully. Learning to release toxic attachments is not about rejection, but liberation, creating space for healthier connections and a more balanced life. Clinging arises from fear of loss, uncertainty, or inadequacy. It often leads us to hold tightly to people, things, or ideas, believing they provide security or validation. Yet, the tighter we cling, the more we magnify the pain of potential loss. Releasing attachments begins with understanding this dynamic, recognizing that clinging does not protect us, but binds us. Awareness of the discomfort clinging creates is the first step toward letting go. One of the most common sources of clinging is unhealthy relationships. These connections may persist out of obligation, fear of loneliness, or a desire for approval. However, relationships built on dependency or control often become sources of tension and resentment. Letting go of toxic relationships involves assessing whether the connection nurtures mutual respect and growth. Releasing such attachments does not mean abandoning others. It means prioritizing your well-being and seeking relationships that align with your values. Material possessions can also become attachments that weigh us down. The desire for ownership often stems from the belief that objects provide status, comfort, or happiness. While possessions can enrich our lives, excessive attachment leads to clutter, both physical and mental. Releasing attachment to material things involves shifting focus from accumulation to appreciation. It means cherishing what serves a purpose or brings joy, while letting go of what no longer adds value. This practice fosters simplicity and clarity, reducing the burden of excess. Expectations are another form of attachment that can create unnecessary suffering. We often cling to how we believe life should unfold, setting rigid standards for ourselves and others. When reality deviates from these expectations, frustration and disappointment arise. Letting go of expectations requires embracing flexibility, understanding that life is inherently uncertain and fluid. This openness allows us to navigate changes with grace, finding opportunities within unexpected outcomes. Clinging to past experiences, whether regrets or nostalgias, also limits our ability to move forward. The past, while formative, cannot be changed, and dwelling on it prevents us from engaging fully with the present. Releasing attachment to the past involves honoring its lessons without becoming trapped by its weight. Practices such as journaling or mindfulness can help process lingering emotions, creating a sense of closure and freedom. Similarly, attachment to future outcomes can create anxiety. The desire to control what lies ahead often leads to over-planning or worry, robbing us of the ability to enjoy the present. Releasing this attachment involves focusing on what can be done now, trusting the process rather than fixating on results. This shift fosters a sense of calm and presence, allowing us to engage with life as it unfolds. Self-identity is another area where clinging manifests. We often attach ourselves to roles, achievements, or characteristics, believing they define who we are. While identity provides structure, rigid attachment to it can create stress and resistance to change. Letting go of fixed identity involves recognizing that we are not static beings, but evolving individuals. This flexibility allows us to embrace new opportunities and perspectives, freeing us from the limitations of outdated self-concepts. Letting go also applies to beliefs and opinions. Clinging to a particular worldview can lead to rigidity and conflict, especially when faced with differing perspectives. Releasing attachment to being right involves humility and openness, recognizing that understanding is always partial and evolving. This practice fosters dialogue and connection, reducing the divisiveness that often arises from dogmatic thinking. The process of releasing attachments requires self-awareness. It involves identifying what we are holding on to and exploring why. Often, attachments fill emotional voids or provide temporary comfort, masking deeper needs. By addressing these underlying needs directly, whether for connection, security, or purpose, we reduce the reliance on external attachments, cultivating a sense of inner stability. Boundaries play a crucial role in avoiding clinging. Clear boundaries help distinguish healthy connections from those that drain or harm us. Setting boundaries involves communicating your needs and limits with honesty and respect, ensuring that relationships and commitments align with your values. This practice fosters mutual understanding and reduces the likelihood of dependency or control. Gratitude is a powerful tool for releasing attachments. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift from a mindset of clinging to one of appreciation. Gratitude reminds us that contentment is not found in possessing more, but in cherishing the present moment. This perspective reduces the desire to cling, creating space for joy and fulfillment. Mindfulness enhances this process by bringing awareness to our attachments and their effects. Through mindfulness, we observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, noticing when clinging arises. This awareness allows us to respond intentionally rather than reactively, choosing actions that align with our well-being. Mindfulness also grounds us in the present, reducing the pull of attachments tied to the past or future. Letting go of attachments does not mean detachment from life. It is about engaging fully without becoming ensnared. This balance allows us to experience joy, connection, and purpose without the fear of loss overshadowing these experiences. By releasing clinging, we create space for healthier relationships, clearer priorities, and a deeper sense of freedom. This practice also deepens resilience. Life is unpredictable, and clinging often amplifies the pain of change. Releasing attachments helps us navigate transitions with grace, adapting to new circumstances without losing our sense of self. This adaptability fosters a sense of strength as we learn to flow with life rather than resist it. Ultimately, avoiding clinging is about liberation. It is the process of unbinding ourselves from what limits our growth and joy, creating space for authenticity and balance. By releasing toxic attachments, we reclaim our energy and focus, discovering that true freedom lies not in holding on, but in letting go. Through this practice, we cultivate a life rooted in clarity, connection, and peace, where the weight of clinging no longer holds us back. Releasing toxic attachments frees us from the weight of unnecessary burdens, creating space for clarity and balance. Yet, in the quiet moments that follow letting go, we often encounter the most transformative opportunities for growth. Silence, often overlooked in a world full of noise, is a profound teacher. It holds the power to reveal truths, foster resilience, and guide us toward inner strength. Embracing silence is not about withdrawing from life, but about grounding ourselves in its essence, finding clarity and calm in the stillness. Silence is a space where the mind can rest from the endless chatter of thoughts and external distractions. In this quiet, we begin to notice what often goes unnoticed: our emotions, patterns, and the subtle workings of the mind. This awareness is not always comfortable, as it may bring up unresolved feelings or buried fears. However, within this discomfort lies the opportunity for understanding. By sitting with silence, we confront what needs attention, allowing clarity to emerge from the chaos. One of the greatest gifts of silence is its ability to restore balance. The constant barrage of noise from the world around us, voices, technology, obligations, can leave us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. Silence acts as a counterbalance, providing a refuge where we can reconnect with ourselves. In these moments of quiet, we find the space to reflect, process, and recalibrate, regaining a sense of equilibrium and purpose. Silence also fosters emotional resilience. When we step away from external distractions, we gain the capacity to observe our emotions without being swept away by them. This practice of stillness teaches us to sit with discomfort, whether it's sadness, anger, or uncertainty, without needing to react or escape. Over time, this builds emotional strength as we learn to face challenges with a calm and steady presence. Solitude, often paired with silence, deepens this practice. Spending time alone, free from the expectations and demands of others, allows us to tune into our own needs and desires. Solitude is not loneliness. It is a deliberate choice to create space for introspection and renewal. In this space, we discover who we are beyond the roles we play or the identities we carry, cultivating a deeper connection with our true selves. Silence also enhances our ability to listen, not just to others, but to the world around us. In the absence of noise, we become attuned to the subtleties of life, a bird's song, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of our own breath. This heightened awareness fosters a sense of presence and appreciation, grounding us in the richness of the moment. It reminds us that life's beauty often lies in the simplest things. In relationships, silence holds transformative potential. While words are essential for communication, silence allows for deeper understanding and connection. It creates space for reflection, where we can process emotions and responses before speaking. This pause reduces reactivity and fosters thoughtful dialogue. Silence also conveys presence and empathy, as we hold space for others without the need to fill it with words. In these quiet moments, trust and connection flourish. The practice of silence also nurtures creativity. When the mind is free from constant input, it has room to explore, imagine, and innovate. Many of history's greatest thinkers and artists found inspiration in solitude and quiet contemplation. Silence acts as a blank canvas where ideas can take shape without interference. This creative potential is not limited to art or invention. It extends to problem-solving, decision-making, and the ability to see new possibilities in everyday life. Silence invites us to confront the fear of stillness. In a culture that often equates activity with productivity and worth, silence can feel unproductive or even unsettling. However, this discomfort is a reflection of how much we rely on noise to distract us from ourselves. Embracing silence is an act of courage, a willingness to be present with what arises without judgment. In doing so, we discover that stillness is not empty, but full of insight and depth. Meditation is a powerful way to engage with silence. By focusing on the breath or a point of awareness, we quiet the mind's noise, creating a space for clarity and calm. This practice strengthens our ability to remain centered, even amid external chaos. Meditation also deepens self-awareness, revealing patterns and truths that are often obscured by the noise of daily life. Over time, this engagement with silence becomes a source of resilience and wisdom. Silence also teaches us about impermanence. In its stillness, we observe the ebb and flow of thoughts, emotions, and sensations, recognizing that nothing is fixed or permanent. This awareness fosters a sense of acceptance, helping us navigate life's changes with grace. By witnessing the transient nature of our experiences, we let go of attachment and resistance, finding peace in the flow of life. Gratitude often emerges in silence. When the noise fades, we become more attuned to the gifts of the present moment. A kind gesture, a peaceful morning, the warmth of the sun. This awareness deepens our appreciation for life's simple joys, shifting our focus from what is missing to what is present. Gratitude, nurtured in silence, becomes a source of contentment and resilience. The practice of silence also enhances our connection to the natural world. Nature's rhythms, its stillness, cycles, and quiet power mirror the lessons of silence. Spending time in nature without distractions fosters a sense of harmony and perspective, reminding us of our place within the larger web of life. This connection grounds us, reducing stress and fostering a sense of awe and humility. Silence, when integrated into daily life, becomes a wellspring of strength. Even brief moments of stillness, pausing before responding, taking a quiet walk, or sitting in solitude create opportunities for reflection and renewal. These practices weave silence into the fabric of our days, transforming it from a rare occurrence into a consistent source of support. Ultimately, the power of silence lies in its ability to bring us home to ourselves. It is a space where we can listen to the truths that lie beneath the noise, connect with our inner strength, and find clarity amid life's complexities. Through silence, we discover that stillness is not an absence, but a presence that holds the potential for profound growth, resilience, and peace. The quiet strength found in silence teaches us to embrace stillness and listen deeply to the truths that guide us. Yet, as we navigate life, one of the greatest barriers to peace is the weight of expectations. These unseen forces shape our thoughts, actions, and relationships, often creating tension and disappointment. Letting go of expectations is not about abandoning dreams or goals, but about freeing ourselves from the rigid need for outcomes to unfold in specific ways. This release opens the heart, allowing us to approach life with openness, adaptability, and a lightness that transforms how we experience the world. Expectations often arise from a desire for control. We create scenarios in our minds about how people should behave, how events should unfold, or how our efforts should be rewarded. While these ideas provide a sense of structure, they also set us up for frustration when reality does not align. Releasing expectations begins with understanding that the world operates independently of our plans. Life's unpredictability is not a failure of our intentions, but a natural part of its complexity. Accepting this truth allows us to approach each moment with curiosity rather than rigid demands. Letting go of expectations in relationships brings profound relief. We often expect others to meet our needs, share our perspectives, or behave according to our values. These expectations, while understandable, can create strain and conflict. Releasing them involves recognizing that each person is on their unique path, shaped by their experiences and choices. This understanding fosters compassion, as we see others not as extensions of our desires, but as individuals navigating their journeys. It also reduces disappointment, freeing us to appreciate relationships for what they are, rather than what we want them to be. In our personal goals, expectations often manifest as pressure to achieve specific outcomes. While ambition can be a driving force, rigid attachment to results can lead to stress and a sense of inadequacy. Letting go of these expectations involves shifting focus from outcomes to effort. By valuing the process over the destination, we cultivate a sense of fulfillment in the present. This approach also fosters resilience, as we learn to adapt to setbacks without losing our sense of purpose or worth. Releasing expectations does not mean lowering standards or abandoning hope. It is about holding our aspirations lightly, allowing space for life's natural flow. This mindset fosters adaptability, enabling us to adjust to changing circumstances without clinging to preconceived notions. It also invites us to trust in the unfolding of life, recognizing that unexpected detours often lead to growth and new opportunities. Expectations often extend to ourselves, creating an internal dialogue of comparison and self-criticism. We set benchmarks for success, appearance, or behavior, and when we fall short, we judge ourselves harshly. Letting go of these self-imposed expectations involves embracing our humanity, the understanding that imperfection is not a flaw, but a fundamental aspect of being. This release fosters self-compassion, allowing us to grow and learn without the burden of unrealistic demands. Society reinforces expectations through cultural norms and ideals, shaping how we believe life should look. These collective expectations influence our choices, often leading to conformity or dissatisfaction when our paths diverge. Releasing societal expectations involves questioning their validity and aligning our actions with our values rather than external pressures. This process is liberating, as it allows us to live authentically and make decisions that reflect our true selves. The fear of judgment often ties us to expectations as we seek validation or approval from others. This attachment creates anxiety and limits our ability to act freely. Letting go involves recognizing that others' opinions are reflections of their perspectives, not measures of our worth. By releasing the need for validation, we reclaim our autonomy, allowing us to navigate life with confidence and integrity. Expectations also shape how we perceive time. We often attach timelines to milestones, creating stress when progress does not align with our schedules. Releasing these timelines involves trusting in the pace of our journey, understanding that growth and fulfillment unfold in their own time. This perspective fosters patience, reducing the urgency that often clouds our ability to appreciate the present. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to expectations. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift from a mindset of entitlement to one of appreciation. Gratitude reminds us that life's gifts often come in unexpected forms, encouraging us to approach each day with an open heart. This practice reduces disappointment as we learn to find joy in the present rather than waiting for specific outcomes. Letting go of expectations also transforms our relationship with uncertainty. The unknown often triggers anxiety as we attempt to predict or control the future. Releasing these expectations involves embracing uncertainty as a natural part of life. This acceptance fosters a sense of freedom as we learn to navigate the unknown with trust and openness rather than fear. The practice of mindfulness enhances our ability to release expectations. By grounding ourselves in the present moment, we become aware of when expectations arise and their impact on our thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness creates space for intentional responses, allowing us to let go of expectations before they take hold. This awareness fosters a sense of peace as we learn to engage with life as it is rather than as we think it should be. Releasing expectations is an act of liberation. It frees us from the weight of shoulds and musts, creating space for authenticity and joy. By letting go, we open ourselves to the unexpected, discovering opportunities and connections that rigid expectations often obscure. This practice transforms how we experience life, allowing us to navigate its complexities with a sense of ease and wonder. Ultimately, the freedom from expectations is not about detachment from life, but about engaging with it more fully. It is about embracing the present with an open heart, free from the constraints of preconceived notions. Through this practice, we find the courage to trust in life's unfolding, the resilience to adapt to its changes, and the joy of living lightly and authentically. This freedom is a profound gift, one that invites us to experience life's richness without the limitations of expectation. Life is full of moments that test our strength, resilience, and inner peace. Through the wisdom of these Buddhist principles, we've explored paths to navigate life's challenges with grace, balance, and clarity. Whether it's cultivating detachment, embracing impermanence, or practicing loving kindness, each principle is a tool to help you rise above the noise of the world and find unwavering calm within yourself. These teachings aren't just ideas. They are practical, transformative ways to live with an open heart and a steady mind, no matter what life throws your way. As you move forward, carry these principles into your daily life, letting them shape your thoughts, actions, and relationships. Growth comes not from perfection, but from practice, and each step you take brings you closer to the unshakable peace that lies within you. If this journey resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Which principle spoke to you the most? How do you plan to incorporate it into your life? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss more insights like these. Let's continue this path of learning and growth together. Thank you for being part of this journey, and here's to living a life of balance, resilience, and deep inner peace.